Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Thursday edition of The Closing Argument. I am Jerome Gayman, reporting from Florida, the beautiful Sunshine State. We have a lot to talk about today. We got a lot of social issues. We got international issues. We got sports. We got other issues that are personal in nature for some of us. We have issues that we take special interest in outside of politics. And one of those issues for me is gender-based violence. We saw a video last night that is making a round on social media, and hopefully you will share it to as many of your platforms as you can. It's a barbaric attack on a female in Wapolu. For those of you who do not have a strong stomach for violence against women, that video is very, 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 very hard to stomach. And I want to say this 1,000 times, if possible. We should not under no circumstance should we propagate or give an excuse for violence against our sisters, our wives, our children, and women. There is no culture in 2025 that should be allowed to violate the human right and the dignity of women. I am greatly disappointed as we are about to go into our headlines that Senator Amra Conant wrote an extensive piece today against drugs and the management thereof. He said absolutely nothing about the barbaric attack on a female in Wapolu. Maybe he has addressed that and I missed that. If I do, please forward it to me and I'm going to give him credit. But as far as I'm concerned, Honorable Anna Conant, Wapolu senator, wrote about an hour or two ago. He said, real talk, talking to the president, please lead the fight against illicit drugs, Mr. President. Mr. Admiral Conant, if you are honoring my voice, you are a coward. We will not allow you to escape, to use this drug incident as an escape, to not address the dire issue in your district, in your county. If the lone female senator from Wapolu County, the meat seller, Boto Kane, if she have addressed that, I will give her credit. As far as I'm concerned, I have seen anything. I have not seen anything, not an interview or write-up or anything from Wapolu against the abuse of a Ghanaian woman who was being tortured, tabed, whatever they call that, tied and disgraced. But in her stance against torture, She was in defiance of what they were doing to her. She looked them in the eyes while they were torturing her. And she allowed the photos, the video, the photograph to speak for her. Not only were the men tying her up, but another woman came and picked her up and slammed her to the ground. And this also brings me to a headliner in the Liberian Investigator. It said, defendant cries as he pleads guilty to murder of his girlfriend, Princess Zuo. Kill his girlfriend, murder his girlfriend. Violence against our wives, against our children, against our daughters, against our sisters. And it seems as though it is an acceptable behavior. Why do I say so? The president have not spoken against this. The vice president have not spoken against this. My own sister and friend, the president pro tem from Grand Bassa County, herself a female, have not said anything. The former vice president of the Republic of Liberia, Joel Howard Taylor, have not said anything. This is in her hometown. We will discuss that, but let's move forward. We have a special guest today. Dr. Torgbean is here to speak on issues as they relate to our education system. After we have done that, then we're going to delve into, obviously, our current events. And if Dr. Torgbean wants to hang around and give his perspective on these issues, we're glad to have his input. There's the headline that is universal. Front Page Africa, on the front pages of Front Page Africa, on the front page of the Liberian Observer, on the front page of almost every newspaper. The Liberian Investigator says, Waka fires LDA leadership, appoints interim team amid drug crisis. That's the Investigator. The Liberian Observer, President Waka fires LDA top brass, names interim team amid drug crisis. Front Page Africa says, President Waka sacks LDEA leadership amid escalating drug crisis, appoints security professionals to lead the agency. While we are on drugs, Ganta has its share of the drugs. The mayor, Ganta mayor, denies alleged role in drug suspect escape. It was a drug dealer, drug cartel that was cartel leader that was arrested in Ganta and escaped. And all finger points to the highest officer in the city, the mayor. He denies it. We'll go into that. Why everybody is beating up on the administration, somebody in the administration came to Waka's aid. He said, bad apples undermine Waka. Ex-Senator Johnson sounds a line on Unity Party's premature campaigning ahead of 2029. We will delve into that when we have the time. The Supreme Court asked to review George Whaley's bail ruling in capital arson case. That's Front Page Africa. The Liberian people eyes are opening as the Liberian legislature was slammed for huge salary and endless breaks. These guys are always on some kind of breaks, and not only when they go on these breaks, They want money. They call it legislative engagement. And then when they call them back, if there's an emergency, when they're supposed to come back to work, they tell them they need a special compensation for emergency to do their work. Can you imagine you have been hired to work and you get paid for an entire year? And then the president calls you back into section and he has to pay you. No wonder everybody kills each other to get into the house or get into government. Let's go into Nimba politics. Why attempts to forcefully appoint the next godfather of vote-rich Nimba County is proving more difficult in the aftermath of PJ's death. This is an article from the Front Page Africa, and we'll go into that. And this one is on the international scene, but it's something that we have to take for, we shouldn't take for granted because it is from the U.S. State Department through the American Embassy in Liberia. It said birth tourism prohibited. The U.S. Embassy says this is carried on the front page of the Liberian Observers. The visa wahala continued. The United States Embassy in Monrovia had issued a reminder to Liberians and other travelers that apply for U.S. visa with the intent of giving birth in America so that their child can obtain U.S. citizenship. They are saying this is strictly prohibited under the U.S. immigration law. That's the new policy. They are warning Liberians, if you are pregnant, don't attempt to come to the United States. And if you came to the United States and had your baby will be a Liberian citizen and not an American citizen. And then the Liberian Observer has Liberia goes green with new energy policy. As Minister of Mines, Otto validate Liberia's first net metering policy to expand renewable energy and affordable access. This is from the Minister Pewee. There are several other documents that we formulated which end up hanging or lying in sheds, unanalyzed. He said, don't want this to be another one. Mines Energy Pay says all the policies that are just going around, people making policy and they are underutilized. He said this one should not be one of them. These are the headlines that we're going to be delving in. So do us a favor, share this show. Tell us where you are tuning in from so we can send a shout out to the folks, the states, the country, the county, the city from which you are tuning in. So we can send shout out to those folks. Dexter Tuet. Good evening, Mr. Gayman. Absolutely. Fix Electronics from the Sunshine State. Obviously, I represent the Sunshine State. If you have not visited Florida, you are not in America. I can tell you that straight up. Without further ado, we will see if our guest is here. We will bring our guest in. If you can see, you see some boxes behind me. Those are brand new computers that I'm going to give out to my employees. They're going to be some happy employees. I'm going to be the best boss, at least for now, until the next request comes in. So if our guest is in the studio, you can bring Dr. Torgbean on so we can begin the process of discussing Liberia, our education system. What can we do collectively to enhance our education system? Is it a system or is it implementation? We have a lot of glossy, well-written prescription to our issues. Is it implementation? Or we need another empty manifesto? So when people walk into my office or into your offices, you have the glossy, well-written papers, manuals, portfolios, binders full of proposals with absolutely no implementation. Let's go to the drug issue while we wait for our guests. What does this say about leadership? Is it enough to just change people? I think this is the third or fourth appointment in the Boyka administration on the DEA issue. They got rid of A.B. Kromah and his crew. They appointed a temporary interim guy. He came in with his crew. And he left, and they brought in the third group that just got fired. Worse than the one before them. And the president have brought in another crew, fired the whole head, bring in a new one. Is it enough? The president and his advisors should know in America, they say 3 strikes and you are out. If the president had made 3 appointments and they all flopped, is it on the appointee or now on the appointor, the president? You think after the first termination, the president will have done an evaluation and say, this is what we need to do, this is where we went wrong. Maybe this is why they never released the final report of the A.B. Kromah saga. Is the president serious about fighting drugs after you appoint 1, 2, 3, and everything is falling apart and you're getting the same results? I think it is Mr. Cummings who says, and he was quoting Albert Einstein, he said doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results is nothing but insanity. President Boyka, you are doing the same thing over and over and expect different results. You are not changing anything. Let me give you a free advice as an administrator. Let me go back to an op-ed piece that we read here. It says in Ganta, the drug enforcement officers there, drug enforcement officers have no cars, no bikes. Bung LDEA officers fight drugs on foot. Mr. President, here lies your problem, actually your solution. You got your drug enforcers, many of whom are volunteers. Many of whom are volunteers. They are volunteers. They got no cars. They got no logistics. They got no radios. Not even a motorbike, not even a bicycle. But they are chasing drug dealers and drug cartels that are driving expensive cars. How is that possible? How is it possible for the man on foot to arrest, to incarcerate, and call for backup when a drug dealer has everything? I think our guest is here. We will bring him on. We will bring on Dr. Topa. But we're going to delve into the drug issue later on after our guest leaves. It says no cars, no bikes. Bong LGA officers fight drugs on foot. Liberia have declared drugs a national emergency, the paper says. But in Bong County, the officer tasked with enforcing that war are fighting with their bare hands and sometimes the hand tied behind their back without a single vehicle or motorbike to chase suspects, raid ghettos, or respond to community infight. Even if there's a tip-off, Special Agent Allison S. Dolly, Chief of Operations for the Liberian Drugs Enforcement Agency, LGA, detachment in Bong, says the lack of basic logistics is crippling his team's work. Since he assumed the post June 4th, he has overseen the arrest and prosecution, but at a staggering cost. Agents are forced to rent motorbikes from community riders just to move from point A to point B. If the president is serious about fighting drugs, you can change everybody that you want. You are putting old wine in new bottle, the folks say. You want to fight drugs, you have to put money. You see behind me, I got computers. My staff, I ask and I demand excellence. And they in turn told me we need brand new top of the line computers to do our work, Mr. Gayman. So they wanted 15 brand new computers, and I got them. Because I hold them to a higher standard. And for them to do their work, I have to give them the tools to do so. Mr. President, if you want the LDEA to work, don't just appoint. Put money into it. Give them the logistics. Do not rely on volunteers. Why do you think everybody wants to volunteer for the LDEA? In Liberia, it's self-pay. If I'm a volunteer and you give me $50 a week, and I go chase a drug dealer, and he said, listen, man, my man, let me go. I won't come back yet. Hold $1,000. We have to be realistic in our public policies. It is almost impossible for a man who is drowning to forego $1,000 for $50. Well, that's about it. That's the commentary. Let me welcome our guests, Dr. Chris Topa. Welcome to the closing argument.
Oh, thank you very much, Jerome. I just want to say hi to everyone out there who is joining us and listening, and I really like your show, so I'm glad to be here.
Thank you very much. Let me welcome our ink man, the prolific writer from the closing argument. I met Stefanik. Mr. Fofana, welcome. He is driving, obviously. Can you hear me? You are muted. We can't hear you.
I don't know why I'm unmuted. I unmute myself. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello?
We can hear you now. We can hear you, sir. Can you hear me? Okay, why Ahmed is having problem adjusting because he's driving. So when you are driving, there are a lot of dead zones. So when he gets to a favorable position and spot, he will call in. We'll listen to him. But Dr. Torgbean, welcome to the show. Is this your first appearance?
Yes, it is.
Okay, usually we give you a glass of water. If you were in Grand Bassa County, we'll give you something else. But for here, we'll give you water. Talk to me. Who is Dr. Torgbean?
Well, just another Liberian boy who was being privileged to get somewhere. Actually, I want to take you back to my roots because it will give credit to the various people who've helped us along the way.
We definitely
So I was born in Mano River, that's in Grand Cape County.
Mm-hmm.
I attended LKC, the Lens Christie School in Mano River. So that's my roots.
You and I have that. I grew up in Mano River. I did go to LKC, so yes.
Oh my God! You see, I mean, small word, okay? So after going to school at LKC, I spent some time at St. Mary's High School in San Nicolas. I spent a couple of years there, my junior high years, and then I went on to Swain Industrial Mission. That's where I got my high school education. Graduated from Swain Mission. I'm a product also of the University of Liberia. But prior to going to the University of Liberia, I spent a year at Cottington, and then I moved on to LU. I graduated from LU, the last class before the war, and I was class of 1989 with a bachelor's degree in math and a minor in physics. When I transitioned to the U.S. sometime around 1999, I came on a scholarship and went to school at Kent State University in Ohio, where I got a master's. I got my MBA with concentration in information systems at Kent State University. And then I went on to do my PhD in program evaluation and measurement also at Kent State University. Currently, I am the Associate Vice President for Institutional Effectiveness at Delaware County Community College in Pennsylvania. But I have a very strong tie to Liberia. I'm always going back and forth. I own a consulting firm in Liberia where we provide social science research, monitoring, and evaluation, and the like. And it is called the Center for Research, Evaluation, and Policy. And because of those kinds of connections and my link to Liberia, I'm always anxious and I'm always writing articles about education policies in Liberia because I'm very anxious to see the system making a change.
Excellent, excellent. Physics and math, you know that's not my area. So let me welcome Roland W. Toy. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name. He's watching us from Battery Factory Community, Japan Freeway, Monserrato County. Absolutely. We love people from Japanese Highway. Good evening, Dr. Torgbean. Your daddy, my daddy, Dr. Torgbean. Look at your daughter. Somebody's weighing in Redemption Hospital ER. Wow. We got Samuel Harris watching from Tingles Village. That's my area. Oh, man. Listen, real quick, my formative years, I grew up in Mano River.
Okay.
My uncle, the late Kringa.
I know the name.
Yes.
So are you related to Abraham Kringa?
Yes.
And Wilson?
And Wilson Kringa, that's correct.
Okay, I know them from LKC.
Yes. So we all grew up there, and even Senator Snow.
Yeah, it is Snow. Yeah, I mean, those are Mano River people.
That's correct. So Yes, those are that grew up all over the country. We have some connection everywhere, but it's quite an honor to have you here. I came across, I like to read different articles and because my interest is, my graduate study. I got a master's in sociology, but my special interest concentration is inequality and social stratification. That's what I like to look at, how people get to be classified at lower class, middle class, upper class, and what causes people to stay or a person to stay in those areas. And is it possible, is it feasible to go from a class to the next class, or we do what we call ladder, Now vertical is impossible to do vertical leap, but we do lateral improvement. You go from a nice neighborhood to a better neighborhood, but it still does not improve your status. You are just a guy who made $40,000 moving from one neighborhood to the next. It doesn't any good. So when someone talks about social research, I like those kinds of stuff because it tells more than meets the eye. So when I read your article and I saw what you were doing, I said, this is an individual that Liberia needs to listen. So talk to us. How long have you been in your profession?
Oh, in my profession in M&E, I would say somewhere pretty close to about 20 years now, because I got my PhD in somewhere around 1998. But prior to that, I also worked at Kent State University in Ohio for about 9 years while I was doing my graduate studies. And from Kent State, I worked at Indiana Purdue University in Fort Wayne, Indiana, before I moved to Delaware County Community College. So my entire career may span maybe a little over 20 years. But prior to that, when I was in Liberia and graduated from the University of Liberia, I taught high school. I taught a year of high school at Swain Industrial Mission, and that was right before the war came on. I taught at Rock Creek International Christian Academy, somewhere in the Painesville area. I taught at St. Francis High School in Painesville. So the career has spanned different areas where I was a math and physics teacher in high school. And when I moved on to the US, I taught math at the college level for a number of years. And right now, also at at Delaware Valley University, I'm an adjunct professor of research methods and statistics, and I teach this at the PhD level.
Thank you. Ahmed, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I think I'm hearing you. I don't know whether you can hear me.
Yeah, now we can hear you. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it's always a pleasure to be on the show, especially now sharing it with a very illustrious and distinguished son of the land, scholar. And so I'm sure tonight we're going to have a wonderful show. I think highlighting his early beginning reflect that, look, it doesn't matter where you come from, it's all about where you want to go. And with hard work, determination, and focus, I think each of us can get there. So I hope our students, our listeners today, particularly so young people that are dealing with the uncertainties of Liberia, can can learn a tool from this. If not the message he may give today, his presentation, but I mean just his own life, and of course the life of yourself and many others. But at least we have one of our own who is imparting knowledge within the United States area. So it means that our educational system in Liberia now suggests that not that we lack capable men and women to do the job, perhaps it is the system and structure. So I'm hoping that as we dive into today's discussion, we could be able to look at some of those challenges and perhaps from a pragmatic social research approach in how we think we can boost our educational system, not to take it up to that of the United States, but I need to take it to when he was still in high school, junior high school, and comparing the two differences as to how we can get back there. So yeah, it's good to have him on the show, guy.
Thank you. Let me say hi to Jai Eddie. He said, I join you from Seasonal, Weed District, Grand Bassa County. My brothers and sisters from Weed, welcome to the show. We have Joyful Farm. I'm watching you from Virginia. I don't know whether Virginia, Liberia, or Virginia, USA. And I have Ralph Pawan Topa. I'm following.
Yeah, that's my little brother.
Okay, Willie Kennedy. I am watching from Monrovia. Charles Clark Sr. Good evening. I am following calmly. Is that Barnesville Township, Liberia? Then we got Maya Ostenso Zondo. Thanks, Professor Chris Tukpa. I'm watching from our Soul Clinic community. Excellent. Our folks in Soul Clinic, we say, welcome to the show. We got a great show here. We got a great professor, Dr. Tukpa. Let's talk about pedagogy. What is that big word you use? What is pedagogy? Talk to us about pedagogy.
Well, I think it's more or less about the way in which you organize the lesson for students to be able to understand it, step-by-step approach. So at the end of the day, students are able to understand. But I think when we talk about the pedagogy and the entire educational system here in Liberia, I really would like to begin by talking about the system and some of the challenges that we see.
Please do.
Okay. I think it is a combination of the system itself and the combination of with implementation of different kinds of policies. I think at the high school level, from the ministerial education level, we have a very decent education law. The problem we have in most instances is how the law is implemented. At the higher education level, our higher education law was put in place in 1989. So remember that. Since 1989, we have had absolutely no revision to our higher education law. This is about 36 years. Of course, we are still operating in a system that is 36 years old. So thus, all of the problems and things we're seeing. So for the higher education system, there is a need to revise the law completely to fit with the current realities. I think back then, maybe the only universities we had in Liberia were Technical College in Maryland, the University of Liberia, and Cardinal University. Maybe they were the three we had at the time. You could add maybe the Bible College somewhere along the Rawaspi Highway to be the fourth institution, but that's all we had. I think the last time I counted, we're looking at around 88 universities or colleges from different kinds of mushroom places all around the place. That's where we are now. So if you design a system to work for full and you're going to 89 and you never look at that system, you have a major issue. I think one of the articles that I wrote and I was very strong about when we look at the higher education system, it has to do with the fact that we see a lot of these universities or quote unquote universities or whatever we call them or community colleges that are mushrooming all over the country without any thought to what kind of lessons they are going to deliver. So someone decides that I am the representative for Bombay County or the Tottenberg district in Bombay County. So I come and I make a political promise to my people. When I get elected, I'm going to give you a university here. So he gets elected, he goes to the Senate or the House, he proposes a bill, and then what happens next? We open a community college in Bombay Hills. The next person in St. J sits down and say, I want a community college too for my people, and open another one. What we don't sit down and ask ourselves is, opening a college is not a building. It has to do with having all of the wrap-around resources. Do we have the qualified instructors to be able to run that place? Do we have the kind of buildings to run that place? Do we have the funding to be able to run this in the long run? Now, the way they do it is they go and pass these things into law from the legislature. They don't even ask the question, what do the people in our area actually need to learn? So what happens is we open all of these colleges, and the only thing they are teaching is what the teachers they can find. So if I can find a sociology instructor, I offer a sociology degree. If I can find someone who's able to teach accounting, I offer an accounting degree. The question is, does this community actually need that? So maybe you have you have an area like the Western Cluster that is situated in Bomi. Maybe what you really need in Bomi could be training some engineers that could go ahead and take an internship and work with the company. But guess what? When we were opening these places, we never thought about what are we going to offer there. All we thought about is we're going to open a school and run it as if it is a social rehabilitation center. We just get people going there because we don't want them sitting and doing nothing. So we open the school. And when we pass these things into law, here's what happens. You tie the hands of the Higher Education Commission. So you pass a college into law, and this place is failing, not doing what they need to do. Can the commission shut it down? Of course they cannot. You will hold the commissioner in contempt. They will call into the house to say you are in contempt for closing down the school that we opened by law. So before you even open a school, is you go to the Higher Education Commission. They should do the vetting and say, okay, we need a school here. Here's what we're going to offer. They let all of that vetting take place in the background before the bill is proposed to operate the school. That's what we need to do from the higher ed thing. So the whole thing is a mess right now. And unless we fix that, that becomes a serious problem. So what we do in Liberia is this. We gave you a license to operate, but we do not come back to see whether you're operating up to standard. We don't do that. So all of our colleges in Liberia, licensure is something that is required. Accreditation is not required. Let me give you a common example here. In the US, if I want to open a college, I put in an application, say I want to open school X. They will ask me to submit certain documents, which is similar to what we do in Liberia. I need to have the right building. I need to have the right kind of resources. I need to have the right faculty. I need all of that. I turn those papers into you. You come over to my college, you do an inspection and make sure everything is okay. You give me the go ahead and say, okay, Dr. Topa, you are now qualified. You can operate this college. Once that is done in Liberia, nobody comes back and check to see what you are doing is up to standard. We are done. Here in the US, we have to do it every 10 years. They come back to the school and we have to write a report and we submit. And they will send a team from other colleges and universities from different states onto our campus. I'm an accreditor for the Middle States, and that is one of the accrediting agencies. What we do is I go to colleges and universities in Maryland, in Virginia, in New York, in my region here, and in New Jersey. I'm on a team. We leave. This college tell us, okay, we've been operating for about 5 years. We want a license to operate for the next 5 years. They write a document and they submit it to the accrediting body. The accrediting body sends it to us as evaluators. We leave and we go on that campus. We go and look at their entire system to make sure that their system is running up to quality. Do they have the right? Do they still have the right kind of teachers? Do they still have the right kind of building? Do they still are they operating in a way to bring up quality? We talk to their students. We talk to their graduates. We talk to all of these people. Why? We want to make sure that that school that was licensed before is still up to standard and is licensed and to get to renew that license. That's what we do. In Liberia, that stage is completely skipped. Once we give you the document to operate, you're free carte blanche. You can do whatever you choose to do after that. That is our problem with the higher education system. Now, let's bring that to high school. At the high school level, it's pretty much the same thing. We give license, we don't accredit. What we need to do is, if we give you a license to operate, we should be checking on you. Maybe we say every 5 years, we come back and we look at what you've done. Okay, we gave you a license to run a high school. What percentage of your students can pass the WIAC? I looked at the WIAC exam results between 2018 and 2022. I look at it over that span of time. And you know what I found out? There are some high schools operating in Liberia right now, and they've been operating since that time, that not a single student has been able to pass the WIAC. But those schools are still operating. So we don't go back to measure quality. All we are thinking is quantity. We think that when we open more schools all over the place, then we are doing an excellent job. That's a good thing for people to have access. But access has to go with quality. We've done enough work in terms of granting access to people. It's about time that we try to add quality to that access. I will stop here for now just to take any questions that you may have.
Great. Before I go to Ahmed, let me welcome some folks here. We got Nicholas D. Williams Jr. He's tuning in from Painesville. And then we have Anastasia Simmons, licensure versus accreditation. That's correct. We got Bioma Cooper. Sound like a Bassa girl to me. Sound like my Bassa sister from Congo Town.
My former student.
I got Ernest McKay. Dr. Tokba, I am following the argument closely from Bapolu City, Bapolu County. Welcome, sir. That's way out there. And then, there's a lot of folks, a lot of your followers are tuning in. Ahmed, I am being educated here. This is something that, we've been talking about. I know it is right within your purview. You are a writer. It sounds like a peer review to me. Like if you say you are operating a college at that level, your peers from your region, your equals, when you're in the boxing ring, they say middleweight, fight middleweight. Or they bring all the middleweights to evaluate to see whether you belong in their class. It's not who know you and all that. Now we have given you less kinship, give you 5 years now. Let the other folks come and do your peer review. Mr. Ahmed, your guest, any questions?
Well, sometimes when the guest has integrity in terms of understanding the subject matter, there are very few questions. There are very few spaces left to ask questions, and so we will just try to squeeze in some concern. Now, maybe you may call it question, but just concern to address. And I think he gave some very important and critical steps because just from a simple perspective, if these institutions understood that they would have a yearly or 5 years evaluation of their status, of course, they will try to, and if part of the condition includes having trained teacher, also the output of their students, I think they put some other pressure on them to try to deliver, considering that there are public tests that those students must take. They take tests to go to universities, they take the WIAC test, etc., etc. And I think that will be the case. But as you highlight that, I just want to come to one other very important component, which of course part of the entire evaluation of the teachers. A few weeks ago on this same platform, the chair you're sitting in, we had a deputy minister for planning research, a former education deputy minister, who revealed to us that over 60% or close to 80% of all teachers, about 6,000 or more of them, could not pass an eighth grade evaluation assessment test given to them. So close to 80% of that number failed the test. That brings us to the issue of teachers training. How are teachers recruited? And you mentioned a point, but I don't know what the system says about that. Oh yeah, okay, I can teach biology, come along, I can teach it. So beyond having perhaps academic qualification, what are other requirements that the teacher must have to go in the classroom beyond the fact about you graduated with a degree and so and so? Because I wouldn't think everybody who is an educated person could be a teacher for the classroom. So I mean, if you could just throw a light in that direction.
Thank you. That is an excellent. You made some very, very excellent points about the quality of teaching, and some of the things that I talked about will actually help to address that quality. What happens is this: almost all of the private schools in Liberia, and I will tell you this: we have more private schools in Liberia than we have public schools. It's a good thing for our country because we have more private schools. At least we're not depending so much on the government schools because these guys can take out a bulk of the load. Imagine this, all right? Let's imagine that I'm running a private school. I'm a business owner and I run a school, and I've been in the school business and I know it makes a lot of money in Liberia. Okay? I'm running a private school. If I know that every 5 years my school is going to get checked to see whether my students are getting a certain pass level on the WAEC exam, or I will lose the opportunity to run my school. Guess what's happening? I'm training my teachers. I'm providing teacher training for them. I'm having in-service training. I'm doing workshops. I'm doing all of those things to make sure that they are up to standard, because I know that their quality is dependent on my income. Right now, the schools just don't care. They can run the school anyway. All of the students will fail, and the guy continues to make the same amount of money. I can tell you this from my own experience because I taught high school in Liberia. A principal of a high school called me to offer me a job. You know what he told me? He told me, look, Chris, I want you to come to my school and work with me. You will be teaching math and physics, but I'm only able to pay you 300 Liberian dollars. Okay, at the time, that's what he told me. He said this beyond that. He said, but one thing I can tell you is this. I have a lot of rich people children in this school, so I'm pretty sure that you will be finding something for me. What this tells you is he's not interested in quality education at all. He has a license now to operate. All he's interested in collecting is money. So he expected me to come to the classroom, collect prize from the student, and then he would just keep running the system like that. So once you bring in that process where every 5 years or so, people have to go back and begin to and get a new license, you will start increasing the number of teachers who are being trained. I don't say it solves all of the problem, because I do agree with you. There are some issues with having teachers who are in the classroom who are not qualified. We can address some of that from the university standpoint. How do we do that? We see that the bulk of the students that come from the University of Liberia, some of them end up being in the classroom. What are the LER courses, the type of courses that students take at the university for electives? Some of us, we got 4 courses in French, we got courses in PE, we got courses all over the place, some of which make absolutely no sense. I took 4 courses in ROTC, 4 courses in French, 4 courses in history. These things make no sense. What if we say to ourselves, since it is possible some of these students who are coming out of the university may end up in the classroom, what if we offer them electives in teaching? So that if that person graduates from the university, if you find yourself in the classroom, at least you have the basic skills to know how to prepare a lesson plan, how to teach a classroom. That will be a lot better than some of the things we're doing at the university right now. So we don't sit and ask ourselves, what are we doing and what does it mean for our system? In some cases, there are some things we've been doing for the last 50 years. We keep doing the same thing and we never question why. I went at one time to go get a digital passport, and this guy tells me you need to bring 2 passport size picture. So I asked him the question. I said, "So you expect me to bring you my picture so you can take my picture?" And he said, "I He said, I never thought about it like that. If you are going to take my picture, then why should I bring you 2 passport size picture?" But then those are the things we do in Liberia, because we've been doing something before, so we just continue to do it. We don't ask ourselves, why are we doing this? Why are we not doing this? We just keep doing the same thing over and again. So I kind of think that's what we can do to address some of that problem with teachers and the lack of quality. But again, there are a lot of instructors right now in the classroom that are not doing well. We can help them with the advent of artificial intelligence and all of these different AI tools. There are tools out there that can help you to grow very quickly. I can tell you right now, if you were a Liberian teacher and if you're a Liberian teacher and you're listening to me right now, get a ChatGPT account. You can go right now on ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, please provide a lesson plan for me to teach my 5th grade how to do fractions. I'm a 5th grade teacher in Liberia, and I'm teaching this topic. It will give you a whole outline of what you need to do step by step that you can use that to go into the classroom. So those are different kinds of ways that we can enhance our teacher skills. We don't have to do things the way we've always done it, by grabbing everyone and put them in one room and having this workshop. There are some things that we can do to be able to leapfrog the system.
Great. Let me work 1 minute. Let me welcome Honorable Victor Nagbe. Welcome, sir. I'm not hearing you.
Yeah, I know it's difficult to hear when you're muted. But how are you? Looks like we are not on Facebook. I was looking for us on Facebook. I couldn't find us.
Oh, we are
But
not?
no, I don't think so. It's good to be you. Dr. Tokwa, welcome to the set. It's good to see you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Amen. How are you, brother? Listen, man, if you're driving, I encourage you to pull over. If anything were to happen, God forbid, all of us here will be held liable. I think it's dangerous to drive and be on the show.
That's true. Let me just ask the last question, and then I'll just pop off and this last question.
And then when you get home, you can come back on. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, but Mr. Toba, I agree with the things you are saying, and I just want to say, for a long period of time, the emphasis in Liberia has been we need to train more scientists, we need to train more engineers and stuff. Many times we don't hear that emphasis on preparing more teachers. I would think because we just think that anybody who perhaps obtain a degree can go to the classroom. And that is why I remember some time ago the former president indicated that he was going to get teachers, about 6,000 teachers from Liberia. Make that point to emphasize that teachers having quality is just as important as perhaps having our nurses and doctors and engineers, particularly in a country with an illiteracy rate that perhaps could be among the highest in the world. But I will conclude all by saying to you that the point you made about the extra evaluation, I would like to seriously recommend and with the closing argument to collaborate with you. Of course, I'm a political person. The man who is chairing the committee on education is a friend and member of my party, I think we can push up a bill. We can push up a bill. If that is not included in that, we can see how we can push that bill and working along with you on the closing argument and submit that and see where it goes, because these things now must go beyond talking. I mean, that is just a simple yet very perfect way of changing the system. In school, like students, even if the student is not serious early, but he knows that at the end of the period he has to do a test, at least for that test, even if you go to fail, but you attempt to make some studies. So that's the same. If schools will be evaluated at least periodic at some other time, whatever time that is, they will make effort to be prepared to stay in that gap. And of course, some of these evaluations, you cannot correct the mistake just on a day. You must have had history of it. So, I think we can work together, particularly with the closing argument, in fact, you are on there, and see how we can offer something to the community chairman, and I avail my service in that direction, because this is something that I take passionately. Thank you. And I want to either cut off the camera or maybe listening, but I'll just cut off the camera until I get home.
Thank you. Let me go to Victor. Mr. Nagbe.
Be safe, brother. Yeah.
Dr. Chris Tokwa is talking a lot of stuff. The last time you were on this platform, when we had a Deputy Minister of Education for Technical Affairs, Technical and Research, and these are brilliant technocrats, but you don't hear their names. You don't see them being pushed. All we see are the politicians, political appointees that have no clue. Their job is to have press conferences and use big terminology. And then the actual technocrats, people who do the job, they don't want to bring them in because they do not want to be overshadowed. So, hence our dilemma. The school system is dilapidated. Like he said, the building doesn't make the school. It's what in that school, what is it you are offering? Your take on the issue, Mr. Nagbe.
Well, again, let me welcome Dr. Tokwa to the set. And you're absolutely right. There's a lot of help that our country could use, and we're all trying to grapple with what we're faced with. And so, Dr. Tokwa, I'd like to ask you this. Do you have a relationship with the Minister of Education in Liberia? And if so, have you made any overtures to assist, offers of assistance?
I've done that several times. I mean, even during the previous government when we was in power,
Okay.
I reached out to the West African Examination Council through some folks that I knew in government. I mean, from the first Ellen Johnson Sirleaf regime, actually, it was the first time I reached out to them. I had
Okay.
a conversation with someone who was in the Ministry of Education at the time, and I offered to do this for free at the time. I said, look, if you guys can give me all of the WIAC results, I will rank every high school in Liberia based on their performance. I will give you, I'm a statistician by profession, and I
Okay.
have a background in IT. I offered at the time, I will rank all of the schools. You will know school number 1 to school number 837. You will know everyone along that continuum. What
Okay.
that helps you to do is it helps you to diversify your resources. The guys who are doing well, you don't have to focus on them. Maybe the people who are doing poorly, you can begin to pick teachers for them from teacher training. So if you have limited resources, it helps you to be able to streamline what you're doing. I did that. I went to Liberia. I offered. I went to WIAC office to get the data. I was in Liberia for about 3 weeks at the time. I was doing some work for USAID, and they never gave me the data. I never got it. I can tell you this though, the current government right now, with the new folks that are in the education ministry, they've been very collaborative. Some of the things that I'm saying to you right now, we are working behind the scenes with them and trying to see how some of these things can be implemented. For some of us, we're not politicians. We don't even want a political job. We're here. We're comfortable where we are, but we kind of feel that it's our duty to give back to our country. I tell people all of the time that I was privileged when I was at the University of Liberia. At the time, they used to have financial aid. And I went to school at LU. From my freshman year till I graduated, I didn't pay tuition. Every semester, the university paid my tuition because I maintained a high GPA. So it's my own way of giving back to the society in the different kinds of ways that I do. So the current government and the current staff at the Ministry of Education, we have some level of relationship with them. And we've been working in that direction to try to help to improve the process. But before I end on that question, I wanted to add something else here that just came out lately when they released the WIAC results. This was my latest article I wrote maybe just about a couple of days ago. I shared that with you, Jerome, and I just wanted
Yes,
to make a point from there.
please, please.
Okay.
What,
Thank you very much for
One minute,
clarifying that.
1 minute. Victor, let him land. Go ahead.
what I wanted to land with is
Oh, I
this.
thought he did. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
The WIAC results in Liberia. Right now, we say you pass 5 subjects on the WIAC, you are college ready, right? You pass math and English and 3 subjects, you're college ready. But when these students do that, what do we do to them next? When they come out of high school, we say go and take a university entrance exam. So on one hand, you are college ready. On another hand, you are not college ready. Isn't that a contradiction? If passing the WIAC exam means you're a high school graduate, why must all of the institutions in Liberia also give an entrance exam for students to enter? Now, watch this. Let's assume a student graduates from high school and has a WIAC certificate, and that student wants to come to university in the US. Once you have your WIAC certificate, you are admitted to a university in the US. You don't have to take an entrance exam.
That's
The
correct.
only thing you take at a university in the US is a placement exam. What the placement exam does, it tells you which courses you start taking. So maybe if your math grades are so good, you may not start at freshman math, you may start at calculus 1. Or maybe if your math grade is so low, you may not start at math, college algebra, you may start at a remedial level. But you are a high school graduate. So what has happened is we have this system in the country where almost all of our so-called universities do this to our kids. And to me, it's a money-making scheme. The Higher Education Commission needs to come out and rule clearly. If a student passes the WIAC exam, they should not take an entrance exam. At least maybe, let's say that this person is out of high school about 2-3 years later. You give them an entrance exam, I'll say that makes sense because they may have forgotten some of the material. We don't know where they are, so we can give you an entrance exam. But if I'm graduating with the class of 2025, and I want to get into the University of Liberia, and you give me an entrance exam again, and when I pass math and English, and what test are you giving me at LU? You're giving math and English test. And then you tell me that I feel I can't get into the university. That's a stumbling block that we don't really need.
Wow. Mr.
Well,
Nagbe.
yeah. Thank you, Doug. What you're saying there is very true. As a matter of fact, Universities here, they use the SAT or ACT. In
Mhm.
fact, now they have the PSATs in the
Exactly.
primary schools. Yeah. But you have to also remember that in the high school, even in the middle school here and the high school, there are graduated uh, state standardized assessment tests that the students do.
Correct.
Yeah, from sixth grade. We used to do that in Liberia. We used to
Yeah,
have the
we do.
sixth grade exam. So the kids here would do that, and then before you clear high school, you got to also you go from park. They go by several different names. So you make a great point there. In fact, some universities here now are discounting the SAT score
Exactly.
because they believe it's not a good representation of a student's performance. These standardized, they call them high stakes testing and all of that. Some people are just not good at that, but it doesn't mean they're not good. They're very good at other things. They're just not good at testing. But I gotta ask you, are you familiar with Philip Pewee? He does a lot of writing on the school system in Liberia.
Yeah, I've seen a few of his writings. I have.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I just wanted to ask if you share some of his findings. And for our audience who may not be familiar with some of his writings, he argues that we emphasize form over substance. The teachers are in classrooms and the teachers are ill prepared. He cited the example of a 15-year teacher, veteran teacher who could not pass, a sixth grade math exam or something like that. You think the state of our education system in Liberia? I know the financing is a question. Do you think our teachers are being adequately prepared?
Here is the thing. I think sometimes we overemphasize the financial side of it. That's my personal view. There are a lot of policies that we can put in place that even without the right amount of financing will make a lot of change in the system. Remember what I said earlier. Let's assume, and as I made this point before, I'm going to restate it. Let's assume, and we in Liberia right now we have more public schools than private schools. They take the bulk of our system. Let's assume every private school had to come back and re-register every 5 years, and you are coming back to re-register based on certain standard.
Right.
Maybe we say to you, in order to get re-register, you must have a 75% of your students should be able to pass the WIAC exam. If I'm running a private school, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start doing teacher training. I'll look at my WIAC results. If my students not doing well in history, I'm looking for somebody I'm looking for a school where the students are doing well. I'm hiring a teacher from there, or I'm bringing him to train my teachers. That's how you upgrade the system. But we have not invested in the system as a whole at all. What we've done is we let it to run by itself. And when you have the system running itself, people are going to do exactly as they please. So from the policy standpoint, this is where the Ministry of Education comes in. If the Ministry of Education comes in and put these kind of blanket rules and say this is what's going to happen, you will see that the system will start growing itself. That is a policy thing. That one does not require the Ministry of Education spending money. You know who's going to spend the money? The private schools going to spend the money to train their teachers. What's going to open is business for training teachers. They will start hiring professionals from even out of the country to come in to train their teachers. Schools will get together, maybe 2 or 3 private schools will get together, form a consortium, and say, let's bring in people to train our teachers so that we are up to standard, because we know that this is how we get our income. That's how you grow the system. You can't do it any other way. The way we've left it is everybody can do as they please. We gave them absolutely no standard. If there's no standard, no one's going to meet the standard.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. You make a great point. And Jackson, welcome. Let me just pass it on Jerome. The point you're making there is very valid. I mean, here in the public school, they use the various data points to qualify for various funding. And you're right. If you don't meet certain quota for it, I mean, they go from fights in the school to absenteeism to graduation rates. All of these data points, they qualify you for a certain amount of funding. I like the point you're making. Maybe every year or every 5 years, our school should apply for recertification. And then we use those data points to see whether you qualify or not. That's a very good point. Jackson, welcome to the set. Stop being late.
Let me welcome Mr. Jackson Seaton. It's a very nice thing here. But let me say this to you, Dr. Torgbean. I want to warn you that you are talking to educators here. Victor is an educator in the New Jersey system. Mr. Sita also an educator, so you're in the right spot. Mr. Sita, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dag. And Dag is not a strange person to me. Dag and myself will go a long way.
Oh, you are Delawareans.
No, not Delawarean.
There you go again.
We were all students at the University of Liberia, and then through his effort, I served as adjunct instructor at the Delaware County Community College. Before. So that's my man. So when I saw the clip, I said, no, let me come so that other can share notes on this whole situation that is happening in Liberia. And I think Doug made a salient point. The point here is the private schools. Everybody is opening private school. There are no standards. How do we hold these schools accountable? How do we know that they are properly educating our children? We don't have the resources to monitor them. The Ministry of Education, the government of Liberia does not have the resources. And I think the point he raised is a very good point. Look, every private school in the country, you have to seek recertification every 5 years, for example. You understand? Now, before you can seek certification, we have to look at your results. Student outcome. How many students are passing the WAEC? How many students are passing the University of Liberia entrance examination and other higher institutions of learning entrance examinations? All of these things are policies that the Ministry of Education can put into place to try to strengthen our educational system. And look, it is true that the shortage of teachers, qualified teachers, has been plaguing Liberia for so long. It is not new today. All of us here, at some point down the road, were educated by somebody who is not a Liberian, from kindergarten all the way to the University of Liberia. So we have always had this qualified teachers issue. But how do we address that?
Exactly.
We have to adopt policy that will be able to what? Encourage our top, well-educated, smart and students to go into the classroom. We have to provide incentives. We have to provide teacher training program. And we also have to monitor and evaluate these the people that go into the classroom. And what Nagbe said, that somebody who is a veteran teacher for 15 years cannot even pass a 6th grade math exam. That tells you that something is wrong with our system. Yep. How did that man stay in the classroom for 15 years? Apparently, he was in the classroom for 15. There was no professional development.
Yep.
There was no professional development. There was no ongoing training. We put these people into the classroom. We just leave them and everybody do their own thing. I think that is wrong. I think that is wrong. We need to have a system and a policy in place how we educate our children. That starts from what? Teacher training, incentive for teachers, pay teachers well, monitor what they do in the classroom. We have district education officers. Let's look at the public school, at the public school level. We have district education officers. Are these district education officers evaluating the principals of various schools? And are the principals monitoring or even observing the teachers that teach the student in the school? Yeah, if you're a classroom teacher, at least 2 or 3 times a year, you get what? Somebody come in your classroom and monitor and what? And observe your teaching. You understand? And then they gather data. And based on that data is one aspect. Student performance, they tie all of those things into your rating. At the end of the year, when students cannot make progress, then what? They give you bad rating. And if they give you bad rating, guess what? You're going to lose your job.
That's right. Let me welcome.
And all of these things needs to be put in place. And it's not happening in Liberia.
Let me welcome Chief Tomalin George, he just got his new hat from Joseph Boyka. You see he's wearing it. Well, welcome, Chief. Welcome.
You look sharp, my man.
Yeah, the puppet treating you well. How you do? Wear my own hat.
Yeah, no, thanks, man. I want to welcome Dr. Chris Toka. I also recognize someone who is involved in education in Liberia. She's doing I don't know how to describe her. Tukus Ama Harris. She's doing.
Oh yeah, Tukus is doing an excellent job.
Yeah, I want to recognize her. She's doing good things for our students in Liberia. She's trying her best. I mean, I hope she has all the support and to carry on what she's doing for our country. She's doing very well. And I've invited the Minister of Education. I just tagged her on this show, Dr. Jasso, and also the Chairman of the Senate Committee on Education, Senator McGill. This topic is very, very. You see, look, I'm surprised because when I politics, the number is high today because you are discussing something very, very important, and we enjoy it. People are texting me and they really appreciate the topic on the discussion. Thank you, Mr. Gayman, for the guest. We appreciate Mr. Dr. Topa, and I'm sitting on the platform with great men, total educators here, and I'm not even allowed to be with you guys, but at least maybe to join you. But these are who are molding the minds of people in this great country called America. But Dr. Topa, I just want to ask quickly, right? Prior to during our days back in Liberia in high school, the national exam, what you used to do, right? When school begins, all those who taking a national exam, they used to teach us the syllabus,
Correct.
so that we can pass the national exam.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know whether they're still doing it, and whether the government still providing incentives to the private schools or so forth. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, but the Board of Higher Education Liberia, we need to really take a serious look at it. I think it's Dr. Wonkaya. He's the head of that board, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's heading that board right now, but it's something that we really need to take a serious look at because the result that came from the national exam I don't think it's satisfactory. They don't represent our country, and we can do more. And so I want to say thank you again, but I'm happy to be on the platform with you guys tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, let me just read something briefly from Tukus Ama Harris. She said in Nigeria, right? A Nigerian 9th grade student. The 9th grade science curriculum has welding, carpentry, auto mechanics, ceramics, asymmetric drawing, oblique drawing, woodwork projects, metalwork project. Very practical. It goes with the system. This is something very serious here. You are in the 9th grade. Before you go on to the 10th grade, you may have been introduced to all of these things. They are not saying you will master them, but you have been introduced hands-on. Dr. touched on this here, the importance of having our student, the broad-based education system, right, where your knowledge is so vast that when you leave that class, by the time you move on into real high school, getting ready for graduation, you will have an idea in welding, in all of these things. And just in case you don't want to go to college and you want to get directly into the workforce, you say, you know, well, I think I like to do welding and I'm going to go to Votech and go into the workforce. This is awesome. Thank you, Ms. Harris, for this.
Yeah, let me comment on that. I think one of the biggest mistakes we've made in Liberia in terms of our educational system is to copy it too much after the American system. It's one of the biggest mistakes we've made. And here's what I mean. There is this myth that you need some sort of higher education when you graduate, when you come out of high school. There is this myth in Liberia. Thus, the way we see this myth being perpetrated across the country is almost every representative and almost every senator or almost every representative, we will say, is trying to open some sort of a college in their own community. Pretty soon we will have 73 community colleges because there are 73 political districts. Pretty soon we'll get there because we've been seeing it here. When we look, this other person put a law through, I want a community college here, and we open it. I put one here, we open it. What we're not asking is, what are these people teaching at the various community colleges? We never ask ourselves the question, what is going to be the curriculum and whether it is relevant for the particular area. All we do, we put people in the classroom based on what they can teach. I got sociology people around here. I got 10% around here can teach sociology. Okay, then we'll offer sociology degree. Do we need sociology in this particular area? No. Maybe we need mining. Maybe you if you're operating at Seneca or Nima County Community College, and you got Achila Matal right there, maybe you need to be training people for jobs at Achila Matal. Maybe that's what the kind of diversification you need. But we don't think about that. So we focus so much on higher education. So right now we have these institutions producing a lot of people coming out of college with absolutely no employable skills. I met some kids in Liberia lately. Someone who worked with me on a survey had been out of college for 7 years and having a 4-week piece of job to go out and interview people in the field was the first job he ever had since he graduated from college. So imagine that. So what we need to focus on is giving people skills that they can get employed. We should be focusing more on vocational training. What's happening a lot in Liberia now? Most of us are doing building. Some of us here in the US are doing some construction. We're looking for people who can do plumbing. We're looking for people who can do wiring. We're looking for all of these kind of things. But we don't have people with the skill sets. What we see happening is people are coming from, some contractors are coming from Ghana, from Nigeria, and other places, and they are filling this void. And what is happening with the Liberian students? Every single one of them trying to get to college. And they come up with a college degree, but no employable skills, because the only source of employment they see is the government. We are not teaching them any entrepreneurship so that they can come and start their own business. We have some people who going on to learn agriculture. They spend 4 years at the University of Liberia or at some of our universities learning agriculture, and this person is not even able to make a pepper garden. So what kind of agriculture you learn if you can't make a garden? We focus too much on the theory and less on the practical, and we actually need the practical skills. So I agree 100% with what Tukus is saying.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you just joining the show, I am Jerome Gayman. I'm here with the Chief Tomalin George. With me is our own mayor of Delawarean, Honorable Jackson T.S. Seaton.
Jerome, can I just make a quick comment on that, on the last point?
Yes.
So I tell you this, when I was at the William V. Studmore School in the early 80s, yeah, Jackson, I just told you how old I am. So when I was at the William V. Studmore School, yeah, we had carpentry,
yeah,
we had woodwork, we had auto mechanic. Yeah. I did accounting. I mean, exactly. my friend Michael Williams in Atlanta now, we laugh about it all the time. But the problem was when you acquire these skills, when you leave school, you couldn't find a way to market your skills. You didn't have any startup money, and you couldn't gain any gainful employment. And so that kind of thing made them not so appealing, even though that was a very good effort. And I'm assuming that still goes on. So we have to be able to connect that to employment, the ability to be employed. So the two have to go glove in hand. But it is something that I think is being done in some schools. I know BWI, for instance, did that. And but I just wanted to put that on. I'm not sure if that's still being done in Studmore School. Sarah here will probably attest to that.
Yeah, because you talk about BWI. What I noticed when we were in school back then, when the kids graduate from the school had a placement program.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
their junior or senior year, they start doing internship at Lamco, Firestone, all of these places.
Absolutely.
So they place them. That system has broken down. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching the Coral Farmer. Everywhere you call, please let us know where you are chiming in from, so we can send a shout out. A lot of you are here. Only you're sending greetings, but we don't know where you're coming in from. So thank you very much, Tukus. We don't know where you chiming in from. We would love to acknowledge those folks. We are getting people from all over the country, and we say, Doctor, it looks like you are doing a great job there. Now, let's talk about. We're talking about the accreditation, right?
Yeah.
How then? I one thing I learned today from here, and I'm going to get involved. I think I'm going to take the lead. I'm going to be calling upon you, and then we can put together a consortium to actually write a bill, and we can ask one of our favorite lawmakers to make sure that it becomes law. We can lobby for it to become law, so we can put. They want to do these things, they just don't know how. to have the accreditation. Like me, when I started my business, they would come and do the evaluation annually.
Exactly.
And as I started getting better and doing well, then they carried to 2 years. Now I'm up to 5 years. They didn't just give me 5 years. You see the boxes behind me? My staff requested that they needed new computers. So I looked into the budget line item where I had something else, and I got 15 brand new computers. All my staff, tomorrow, they will be happy. You see this behind me? I would be the best boss. They would start calling me, because if I am demanding for them to be perfect, not perfect, but to give me the best, I have to give them what they say they need.
Yep.
So I have contingency funds, and I can take money from there and buy what the equipment they need, because this is what they say they need. About 3-4 years ago, everybody got laptops. So now it's 4 years, so it's obsolete. So now we are replacing everything in here with brand new computers. I'm saying the same thing here. If we want our teachers, our staff, no matter what business, you have to give, your employees the tools to do well, to accomplish. You're going to hold them. And we were just talking about this, and I want to chime on it. The drug thing we are talking about in Banga. According to the Liberia investigator, they say the DE officer have no cars, no bikes. They are fighting drugs on foot. These are the guys that we are depending on to fight drugs for us. It said Liberia has declared drugs a national emergency. But in Bond County, the officer tasked with enforcing that war are fighting with their hands tied. Without a single vehicle or motorbike to chase the suspect, to raid ghettos, or respond to community tip-off, they are chasing drug dealers in cars on foot. So this is the same thing. We build these beautiful school buildings and we dedicate them and just put teachers there. There is no computers. There are no computers. There's nothing there to enhance the quality of teaching for teachers, but we say we are dedicating. Can you talk to us the difference between the building and what goes into the building?
I've heard this especially a lot over the last few years when I hear people making a comment in Liberia, say the Liberian students not serious, and it's one of the statements that I get very offended when I hear. I'm here. I'm a product of the Liberian schooling system.
So
as is each of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
The Liberian students are very serious. The problem is when the system is unserious, the students become unserious. I learned this for myself. All through I went to private school, not having to pay a penny here to bribe someone and everything like that. I'm going to tell you guys this joke to give you a context of what happens in the school system. Okay? Now, I leave and I go to Cottington, and for the first time in my life, I have to take ROTC, and they were doing the Doe regime, and they place these guys there just to collect something for themselves. I'm so clueless, and the night before my first ROTC exam, I'm sitting and studying for the exam. And this guy is a senior student. He passes around, he sees me studying, he says to me, "What are you doing?" I say, "I'm studying my ROTC exam." And this guy falls on the ground and he's laughing. I have no clue why he's laughing. Until the next day, I go take the test. When I see the exam before me, you know what the exam questions were? Question number 1, blank, blank, blank of blank, blank, blank is blank, blank, blank. 2, blank, blank of blank, blank is blank, blank. 3, blank, 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 blank is blank, 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 blank. I looked at the exam and I knew I couldn't do anything because it tests how one goal. The goal was that I should fail. Okay? So I leave from there very angry. I walk over to go meet the commander for the military guys. When I get to the office and I have a conversation with the commander, blasting, saying there's a stupid test and all like that, watch you guys get stuff like that. When I got done talking, you know what the commander told me? So, man, all I think talking, that PV boy talking, to go find something for my man. You know what the lesson I learned from that day? I never went to any ROTC class for the rest of my life. I was in college. I stayed at home.
Was it Henry Sumi? Was it Sumi?
That was so big.
My man, don't
At
come
the time,
for things. Don't come for things outside here now.
Well, you don't have to call me.
yeah, you don't want to call it new. You don't
You
Yeah,
don't
want
want
to
to call it me.
you put your man in there. So me, hey, so me wherever you are. So me wherever you are. Victor Nagbe and put you out here.
The lesson I learned from that day was do not study any more ROTC. Find something to give to the instructor because there was no way I was going to be studying and paying the instructor at the same time. That's what happens in our school system now. The children come in the third grade, fourth grade, the people start collecting money from them because the teachers are not well paid. The system is not being evaluated. No one measures up the standard to say you got to re-accredit the school every 3 to 5 years. So I run the school any way I feel like. The students start to learn to bribe in third, fourth, fifth grade. By the time you're around 6th and 7th grade, you don't have to study anymore. You're not studying. You're finding money now to bribe. By the time you get towards high school, you are bribing now, not because you want to, but because you don't have the basic foundation. It's the only way you can pass. So you continue bribing. So that becomes a part of the system. So here's the thing. We talk about training teachers and doing all like that and trying to get these people trained. The only way you improve the system, you have to collect data, you have to measure performance, and you have to monitor over time. Unless you have that lesson show where maybe people come in and say every 5 years you're going to have to re-register your school and your school has to be up to this standard, it is not going to change. The people are just going to run it the same way. And we can't do the same thing, like you said, Jerome, at the beginning of the show, and get a different result. That's the definition of insanity.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, Cora Farmer is saying here, she's going.
I'm apologizing to Cora. I was writing. But let me tell you another little piece of nugget, right? And I don't know when Chris was there, but we used to do the ROC like 6 in the morning. And then
exactly. That's why I stopped doing it because I had to get my medicine while going to stand out in the morning.
So we found our part was, and when you're on campus, boys and girls, you all live like boys and girls. You don't even distinguish.
Yeah.
So we had our girls, they wear the shortest of shorts in the morning, and we didn't you'll be in the front row.
They I can see you a Bible.
Listen, man. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the closing argument. Be thankful, Odyssey. See, be thankful is charming in from Columbus, Ohio. We got Mr. Torgbean in Jacobstown, Painesville City. We got people here from basically everywhere. Another new one, Kudet. Is that Kudet Cummings Cully? I don't know where she's calling in from, where she's chiming. But listen, we are sending kudos to everybody that tuned in from all over Liberia. Somebody tuned in from Bapolu City, Bapolu County. That's awesome. But ladies and gentlemen, we got about 12 minutes, then we will start taking some calls. And you can ask the doctor anything you want to ask. You can say whatever you want to say. We are here to learn. And what this young man is saying, let's talk about the idea that you mentioned, because when I was a graduate assistant here in Florida during my school days, we used to have two groups that used to visit us. The U.S. News and World Report and Princeton Review. They used to come on because they were ranking the different colleges. They had to go through stuff to rank where your universities and the high schools are. You talk about something similar. You wanted to work with the WIED, the different school department of education, to come up with rankings of schools in Liberia from elementary school all the way to college. How would that happen? And are you getting any support or anybody is actually listening?
Oh yeah, I've gotten I mean, there are some things that I've been working in the background that I can't disclose right now. But yes, we're getting some level of cooperation from the Ministry of Education to do some work in that area. What will happen is this: if you look at all of the schools in Liberia that are being taken the WIEG exam, and the last I checked, from around 2002, we had about 837 high schools. Okay, if you look at all of them. And the way I'm recommending it is you don't take 1 year data, because 1 year can be a fluke. You can have a situation where the school has a bad year. That's possible. So you rank them over 5 years. Let's say over 5 years, you have had about 300 students who went through the WIEG. Let's average all of their grades together. in every subject. Let's look at it first and look at it overall. If we look at it overall and know what your school average is, then we look at your average per subject. If we can do that, it helps the country a lot. Let me give you some examples. Number one. So right now, what do we do with subsidy? When we ready to give us subsidy, it's all political. If you're a representative, you got a school open, we found something for you because you helping to write a law. But what if we are able to rank the schools? And we say based on the ranking, the top 50 schools in every county is going to get a certain amount in terms of subsidy. You know what you've done? You've encouraged competition. If I'm sitting in Garguah County and I'm running my school, and I know that I'm in the top 50, I'm going to get something like around $10,000 from the government, guess what? I'm investing in my school. I'm investing in my teachers. I'm doing everything to get there. That's what I would do. Here's the second thing that happens. Let's say we rank all of the schools. We now know the top schools in Liberia when it comes to math. We know the top schools when it comes to English and all of the different subjects. If the Ministry of Education is hosting a workshop and they want to train other teachers in the area of math, we look to the top schools and we bring the teachers from there to come and do training. That's an incentive for them. That also becomes a situation where they can be able to brag, they get some extra money. All right. Now, let's look at it further than that. What if we do that and every flag day, we say the top 10 schools in every county, we're going to recognize them at the national stage. We bring them up, we bring them up, we showcase them, we give them an award, we do the same thing for the teachers. So it's not only about how much you pay these people. For some people, some of these rewards have to be intrinsic within themselves. They see now I take pride in the fact that I'm now teacher number one in Garguah County. I can wear my T-shirt, math teacher number one or teacher number 5 nationwide. That's my bragging rights. If we begin to do these kinds of things with the ranking, what we've done is that we've encouraged one hand competition among the schools, because I know that by getting to a certain level, I'm going to get a certain amount of funds from government. 2, we don't have money to train everybody across the country. So if I look around and I'm looking at the top 100 schools, they are doing well, and I'm offering workshop, guess what? Maybe the people who are in the bottom 100. So now the resources I have, I can better spend it on those people who are at the bottom, and I can train and help them to become better. Right now, what we do when we have a teacher training workshop, we bring everybody from everywhere across the country, those who need it, those who don't need it, and we say you're compelled to come to a workshop. It's a waste of resources which you don't have. So I kind of think that by collecting data and by analyzing the data and having that information, it helps us to, 1, identify what our needs are. 2, it helps us to address the problems where the problems are.
Thank you. Let me recognize folks from Chocolate City and Double Bridge. So those of you who grew up in Monrovia, Double Bridge, as a community, I guess.
That's my community there. That's my community there.
Chocolate City. Chocolate City. That's another place in the place there. Okay. Yes.
Let me come in. And the point Dr. Topa is making is a very good point. Data should be the driving force on how we improve educational outcome for students in Liberia. We can't just do it on the fly. We have to use the data. And what he's saying, it makes a lot of sense. That encourages competition, and that will also put pressure on everybody to do better.
Yeah.
For example, we live in the United States. You can come from Harvard, or you can come from Princeton. And even you come from the University of Delaware. All of these schools are competing with each other because what? They want to be in that national ranking.
Exactly.
That is put out every year by the U.S. News Report. All of the national ranking. If we can do that in Liberia, it's going to help. But let me comment on another issue that Doc talked about. Resources. For example, all of these community colleges, I was told by a friend who visited Sando recently, the Sando Community College don't even have instructional textbooks, instructional materials to teach students. So then I told you, I said, well, I have tons and tons of instructional textbook, developmental math textbooks. that I can share with that school. And we are working in the background on that. Again, we can just establish all of these uh, community colleges and we don't provide the
Exactly.
resources. We don't provide. It is better to have one good community college in a county than to have a multiplicity of, and support that community college than to have so many community colleges and we don't give them the resources for them to be successful.
Yep.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, somebody is in from Peace Town Island Community, the Congo Town Peace Island Community. Man, when I come to Monrovia, I had to visit all these places because, you know, this boy from Buchanan, I didn't grow up in Monrovia. Some of these places.
Yeah, that's why you don't know the places.
Yeah, somebody texted me and said there's a place called, what is it? Daybreak Mogopi.
Yeah, Daybreak Mogopi.
Yeah.
That's a community.
But let me ask a question, right? When I was living in Rhode Island, I know I worked with a place called Jobco, right? What Jobco was doing was, it still exists. I think Trump tried to close it down, but it's still in existence. But what Jobco, what it does is that they if you pass the age, you know, because what they do is maybe while growing up, the child got into some problems and so forth. So the child was either in jail, juvenile prison, and going through all kind of stuff. So as a result, their peers left them behind, and so now they won't put a 15-year-old kid in a class with a 6-year-old kid.
Yeah.
So what they did, they had job cocaine to bring. So what they do, they teach you to help you get your GED, your high school diploma, but come up with a trade.
Yeah,
they get various trades there, you know, that you get, you know, you're a CNA or phlebotomist or carpenter or something. I don't know. We don't have it in Liberia. They try to do it, I think, at the Department of Labor in Liberia, NBDC, but I don't know what the status of it. I don't know if they can think about that in Liberia to help us to be good to. Secondly, I think you guys are teaching in America. I know throughout the year, the Department of Education or whoever the authority that is charged to monitor you guys, they send people out in the field to check on the school, almost like a licensing check. To check on the various teachers, whether they still are up to date with their license, teaching license, and all kinds of stuff to look for to make sure that school is on par with the with regulation. I don't know what we're still doing in Liberia. And my last thing is, what's the start of a KRTTR and the Zosa Rural Teacher Training Institute? These were places that I know you say were doing a program. My sisters worked in that program in Liberia where they were going around doing the early and we administration. They were going around training teachers, having workshops and seminars. I don't know where are we on it in Liberia today, because it helped a lot.
Those training institutions are still operational, but here is the problem we have.
Okay.
We have a problem where you have about maybe 4 or 5% of the teachers in the classroom now are coming from these institutions, and 95% have been in the classroom for some time. And these are the people who are the major issues, the people who need to upgrade their skills. These people been there, some of them since Adam was a boy, and they've been teaching and been using one thing the same way they taught in 1960. Some of them, the same copy book they had in 1960 is the same one they are using today. The question is, do we really go back to reinvest in them to make sure that skills are upgraded? That's where the bulk of the problem is. And most of the newer programs from the Ministry of Education and other places are geared more towards training new teachers. While we are not having, where the major problem is not with the new teachers, is with those who are currently in the classroom, those who are currently teaching. So we have the problem now. How do we address the problem now? You talked about something similar to a job corps or something of that kind of nature where we can begin to upgrade individuals and give them some technical skills. Excellent idea. We had something like that at MBDC and we had it at AITB. Those two areas are still open, the Agriculture Industrial Training Bureau and the Monrovia Vocational Training Center. As a matter of fact, I live right behind the MBDC area. That's where I grew up. And students used to come and learn carpentry and other things there. You know the latest news I heard from Liberia? someone has proposed a bill to make it a university, MVDC. So what we've done is we've degraded technical education so badly that no one wants to get technical education anymore because it looks like something we can look down on. And we want everyone to get a college degree, even though we are now putting out college graduates that can barely read and write. And all we have is these people come out with credentials and they cannot back these credentials. That's what the issue is. So you come in and you try to help this. You come in and try to fix the system. The system is broken from all over. So the way you need a really multifaceted approach to be able to get there. And the way you do that is while you are training teachers who are coming through the system so that they can be better to go forward, you have to work with those who are currently in the classroom. And one of the ways we do that is right now the government is doing its own job training the government teachers. But guess what? The government schools make up about somewhere around 37 to 38% of the schools in Liberia. Okay? You're talking about the rest of them are all private schools. What's happening in that sector? Nothing. The private schools are not training their teachers. Why? No one is holding them accountable. Unless you hold somebody accountable for something, they don't take it serious. So if you bring in a 5-year accreditation process where every 5 years I'm going to look at your results and based on that I'm going to give you a license, they will start training the teachers. That's what we need.
I mean, I agree with you. I agree 100%. But I don't know, Mr. Nagbe, Mr. Seaton, I know throughout the school year, you guys, in fact, before the school even opened recently, you guys were already in school before the student went to school, right?
Yeah.
You're going through seminars, everything.
I was in my school just today.
Yeah, you see, so, and you guys
getting ready, yeah.
So throughout the year, you guys go for various training to upgrade your skills. I mean, I did doing Liberia still. I mean, like I was in periodic annual trainings. Like this, okay, during the entire school year, all teachers in Liberia must go through six trainings. Got to go through this training to hold a license. Do they do it in Liberia?
Well,
let me say that Chris will come in. Sorry, you know, when I was on cutting down, I don't know if Chris will remember, we had the same step program, the cutting down in-service teachers training program. And over the summer, all of the teachers, you know, they will come to cut down and they will conduct, I think it was like a 2-week training because the content is really is different than pedagogy. You know, how to teach, right? How to manage your students, right? How to present the lesson. You know, and that's why Philip here, you know, he points some of the things out. We still focus too much on, you know, the student memorizing the stuff as opposed to understanding the application. Why does an element have 2 protons and 2 electrons? What does it do with these electrons? Why is that? Those kinds of probing questions. But I don't know. The SIN-STEP program was very helpful. You know, Chris will come in, but I hope, you know, and like he said, we cannot blame everything on financing.
Yes.
We got to be creative, you know, and do more with less. We have to learn to make do with what we have and use it to the best of our ability. I think our teachers, you know, our educators need to be a little bit more innovative. There are a lot of people here. I know Dr. Kaifa Siafa, I forgot his name. A lot of people who are willing to go home and just teach for free, just to help. I'm sure Chris himself will be in that category. You know,
I've actually been running workshops from here for free for some schools in Liberia. I've been doing it from here.
The alumni associations, the University of Liberia, they're all willing. But like he said, when you make these offers, you get rebuffed. You know, most of the time.
It's sad because
you know, it is the politics. It is the politics that is killing everything. You know, but before I go further, somebody made a comment that in the United States they have AI and Chat GPT, and students can just Google and put everything in Chat GPT and make an A. Well, let me just tell you, for the record, every school in the United States has a Chat GPT policy. You cannot plagiarize. Once you plagiarize, they have system. They put your whole material. You just plug it into a system, and if it is Chat GPT, everything will pop up red. So you cannot make an A using Chat GPT and without giving. In fact, before you even use Chat GPT, there's a policy. You have to sign a document that you will not use Chat GPT. All of your output has to be your own original output. Even though you can consult ChatGPT, but you have to give credit to that part of ChatGPT that you consulted. So you just can get up and just use ChatGPT and get an A. So that information you are saying, why it is true that people use ChatGPT, but you can't use ChatGPT for an A. Now, the next thing here is, Tomalin George asked a question. Almost every school in America have professional development.
Yep.
Teachers are trained over the years. And what Doc is saying, it makes a lot of sense. The old teachers who have been in the classroom over the years, they need to be retooled. You can't get, because we have teacher shortages. So we cannot say, well, because you've been in a classroom for over 15 years now, you are not productive anymore. So we'll put you by the wayside. We'll give you incentive while you are teaching, while you are going to school, while you are teaching students, people are also teaching you. And you understand? To build up your skills. And that needs to be done. And you understand? The Ministry of Education is doing it for its teachers. It is not time for the private school to do that. But again, the private school are not going to do that if the Ministry of Education does not have in place a system to hold them accountable. That's where the monitoring and evaluation arm of the Ministry of Education comes in.
Good. Let's see if Myean is ready. Let's open the line for a few minutes. Let's get some calls so we can see and hear from our folks in our audience. We have all these professional folks. You can see the comment section. These are highly technical folks, highly educated folks. They're all Liberians. And we're all speaking the same thing. The last time I was in Liberia, to my own church school, AME University, they had like maybe several hundred graduates, whatever that was. And the University of Liberia has several hundred also. And these people don't get work. So how do we not at least train these people in? I think Bill Clinton had the besides of the, how they call it, the Job Corps. So you come from the college area, and you owe so much student loan. Let's say go teach for a year or two, and we forgive your loan. Go teach. Go to the teacher training, get trained, and then do this. Why we are not putting all these graduates from the universities? Why aren't we training them to at least start off as teachers in the school system and then work their way up? But they're just milling around Monrovia with double degrees and nothing to do. And then the schools got teachers that can better read and write. So we got our priorities all mixed up. So Myean, if you're there, let's see if we can open the line for a few minutes, and let's tease Dr. Torgbean a little more and get our folks. Let it not be politics all the time. This is substance here now that we are talking about. The last time we had this debacle when it came to the Wyatt, we are talking about the roots of the problem. Yeah, go ahead, Doc.
While waiting for the phone, the lines to open, Dr. Topa, I know you've been trying I'm sure you've been trying to help through the government, the ministerial government, the WIA government, and the Boga government. I mean, have you been receiving resistance or challenges? Have they been supportive?
I made an attempt during the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government, and I did not get any reaction in terms of support from individuals who were in at the time. Despite numerous requests to have them get things like the WIAC data to help to do some ranking, that never happened. I made similar attempts during the WIA government. That didn't happen. I can say right now that there has been some movement in that direction with the current government. We've been able to get some collaboration, some conversations, and other things going, and we're working in that direction to assist the best way we can.
So for those of you like us who are critical of this government, that is great news. Like I've always told you, if the great news are out there, send it to us and we'll amplify it. Dr. Torgbean is saying that the new Ministry of Education, headed by the minister, they are listening to him, they have interest in what he's saying, and they are cooperating. We are hoping that a year from now we'll bring Dr. Torgbean back here to tell us, because everything I do, it has to have a timeline.
Let me ask Doc a question. Doc, I know you are Vice Provost for Institutional Effectiveness at Delaware County Community College. and you guys do all of the ranking where students evaluate teachers. So I want to find out, are students evaluating teachers at the University of Liberia and other higher institutions of learning in Liberia? Because at the end of every semester, students are supposed to evaluate teachers, and based on that, the school will be able to determine whether this teacher is effective or not.
Excellent question, Jackson. I know that Dr. Myean, the current president of the University of Liberia, has just introduced something like that. I think just this past semester. So it's just starting at University of Liberia. All of the other institutions, I don't know of any other institutions where there's any evaluation going on. But like you rightly said, you thought of us and you know what the system looks like. When a new instructor comes here, or any instructor for that matter, every semester we send a feedback form to the instructor to the students. And the instructor does not get to see that feedback form until final grades have been submitted. Okay? They'll tell you, does the instructor return paper on time? Does the instructor know how to teach it? Does he do this? Does he do that? The students are going to do that, and they rank it and they send it into our office. Yes, maybe Jackson, maybe you didn't know that this part happens. When it gets to my office, I sit down and I look at all of the student comments. I look at the rankings and I look at the student comments, and I gave them to the deans for the different academic departments. So the dean is going to look at that information and call you in the office and say, Jackson, here's your evaluation result. Here's what the students are saying about you. What is your plan? We see that you're ranking lower here, you're ranking lower here. Tell us your plan to go forward. So if you're not turning in papers on time, for example, you will come out, you will say, okay, you know what? I think last semester I made some blunder, I didn't do some things well, other stuff like that. Here's my plan for the next year. You lay out your plan, and then the dean says to you, okay, you can go back to the classroom, you can continue to work with us, but we'll be watching this thing to see whether it improves. The next semester, when the evaluation results comes in, and I send it to the dean is looking at that particular result for you to see whether it has changed, whether you've gotten better. If over a course of 2 semesters, we see no change in what you're doing, guess what happens? They call Jackson and say, Jackson, thank you for the time you've been teaching with us, but because of the complaints we're getting from students, we can no longer hire you. That's what they do. But in Liberia, most of the time with some of our colleges and universities, the instructors are the bosses. I know of situations where an instructor, you got a schedule, and this is a schedule in that's been being announced at the university. The instructor just come and decide, say, okay, the class will be on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but for me, I will have my class on Tuesday. And all of the students have to adjust because the instructors behave like they are the gods and the students are the servants. In the US, we reverse the whole process. The students are the client, they are the ones who are paying, so they are our bosses. What we do is we work for them. Whatever they tell us they want, we try to bend to meet their needs. The process is completely reversed in Liberia. Now, Tuku's made a point here that I want to clarify. I think one of the points he made was that in terms of the school, the college, the private school system, she stated that the Ministry of Education cannot hold private schools to a standard if their own schools are not performing to a standard. And I agree with that 100%. They should be an example. So if you have different kinds of public schools in Liberia and you have this ranking system, and if the public school cannot meet it, what the ministry might need to do is maybe replace the principal, maybe put somebody else there who can get the results. That way, it makes it equal across the board so that we are all striving to the same standard. So, Tukus, I heard your comment. I just want to clarify that.
Okay, we have on the line Tuku Harris on the line. That gave her opportunity. Tuku, you live on the line.
Hello, everyone, and I'm honored to be in the presence of Dr. Topa. I've been working in the educational space in Liberia for about 10 years now, and it was a meeting with Dr. Topa that showed me the statistics that proved a lot of the things that I knew were happening. And like most people who live in the developed world knows that data should drive actions. So I don't know this. In Liberia, unfortunately, we do most things based on emotions. We make decisions based on people and not on data. And it's a very sad thing. The educational system in Liberia needs a complete overhaul. And what we fail to realize is that one of the things Liberia suffers from is parental illiteracy. So when you have had a civil war for 20 years, where schools were shut down and 85% of your parents are not literate, it makes it even more difficult for children to learn. Unfortunately, we have a school system, and Dr. Topa, he's Myean, he will agree with me, where students enter the school system at grade 1. That's when free education starts in Liberia. Now, if our child is coming from a literate home at grade 1, the child has certain levels of learning. They know the alphabets, they know some of the letters. But let's just look at the scenario that we have. You have people, market women, people who cannot read, who cannot write. And you are asking children to come from those homes. And the only time that you as a state afford those children an opportunity to learn is when they are 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. And we have a lot of educators on the panel. I'm sure you agree with me that the formative years for learning is between 3, 4, 5, and 6. So right there, what that means is that almost every child that enters the Liberian public school system already is starting off at a disadvantage. Coupled with that, we have a situation where a lot, if not all of the teacher programs, training programs that have been conducted, because I have people that work for me in my school that come with all of these certificates. What they are taught there is methodology. But what these donors and partners don't realize that if this man did not learn science properly in high school, there's a limit to how much he can even teach it, even if you give him the proper methods. So you will see that the teachers go into the classroom and they cannot even go in depth into the subject matter. They scratch it on the surface because they lack the learning because they themselves were not taught properly. So there's a lot of things that needs to be done. Another thing that we have to realize that's affecting the educational system is poverty. So when people come from poor backgrounds, and that's where you see boarding schools and mission schools come in. What mission schools will do that is allows the parents to have a certain breather that my child is in a secure space and you can use your mission school to even address other issues like nutrition, like parental guidance, patriotism. A lot of things can be done through boarding and mission schools. So we need to really sit down and think and look at our current realities. What is our situation now? What are things that can address those needs? We have a drug crisis that is going on. A lot of the reasons why those children are able to even access the drugs is because of lack of supervision and lack of parental care. But yet and still, we expect that these children will come from these same homes and excel. I don't want to repeat some of the things that Dr. Chris has already spoken of, because he's already talked about our curriculum, which is very weak. I was blessed to go to school in Nigeria, and I'm like, wow, it's really unfortunate. Are our kids brilliant? Yes, they are. But the unfortunate thing is that we do not believe in building human capacity. And until we get to that point where government needs to realize that when you educate people, what you're doing is you're even relieving yourself of the burden of having to provide for them, because an educated man will be able to fend for himself. So it's a lot that needs to be done. There are a lot of hands on deck, but I don't think we have sat down and properly framed out a method of how we want to approach this issue, and we're just relying on donors, and wherever they come in, whatever they say you need to do, we do.
Well,
Thank you so much.
Let me ask a question. Do we have a national, like an annual national educational conference where educators meet with government and policymakers to come up with the what Tupu is saying? Most of
I doubt it.
I mean, we come together every year and we review the educational system in our country, and then come up with resolution where you come up with things that can upgrade our educational system every year. Do we have that kind of a conference like every year?
No, I don't think so.
We don't.
But I think Tupu made a salient point on this whole issue of Head Start. Students starting school at the age of 6. In the United States and other countries, other developing countries, they have this program they call Head Start. That is when the students are 3 years old all the way to 5 years old, they have the Head Start program, and the Head Start program teach them their basic alphabet, teach them how to count, teach them how to read, all of these basic things that students need before they get into the first grade. We don't have a program like that in Liberia. And I think the Ministry of Education needs to start looking in that direction. We can start now say that we start teaching children from 6-year-old. We're supposed to start from 3rd grade. We're supposed to start having a Head Start program. If legislators or policymakers are watching this show, this is the time for us to rethink our educational system. And Tuku's made a salient point. The whole thing needs to be a decent overhaul. And we need to start having honest conversation. There are many qualified librarians that are willing to go over there and help. But again, Dr. Torgbean said it. There's a lot of blowback. You know, there's resentment of those of us that are here that want to go back to help. I don't think it's helping the situation.
Thank you. Let me recognize Kamo Jabate watching in from Conakry, Guinea. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Chief.
I like some of us, we started when I started school back home. I mean, in my parents' home, and when I entered kindergarten,
My man, you were living in Firestone. Your parents are educated.
And I think it's still happening, right? Your age, I don't know if it's still happening, but your age should be 5 years with your class. So that means when you're in 1st grade, you 6-year-old. When you're 7-year-old in 2nd grade. And I came up. My age, my class was just 5 years different. I don't know what is still happening. You start
listen, Chief. Come on now. I'm from the village. I was speaking to Liza and the pro-tem father, Dr. Kanga. I think he said he started ABC when he was either 15 or 16.
Exactly.
And that's I think when I started ABC, I might have been maybe 10.
Wow.
So that your 6th grade, 6-year, 1st grade thing, it's foreign, it's alien to Liberia, it's only in our little circle. So don't come here talking about you were in Firestone. That's an alien system. You got
there is a reason for that though, for tracking the age, because at a certain age.
No, I understand that. That's why it's supposed to be. But the only people who are privy to that are those who are privy to the foreign system in Liberia, right? You're in Firestone, you're in Lock, you're gonna see them.
I learned a word tonight from Tuku. She said parental illiteracy. That's a word.
But Jerome, I think 2 years ago.
No, but I think the first educator of a child are the parents.
Okay, my parents didn't go to school, so I would be the first. Go ahead.
I know that, because that's what she said. A lot of our parents are illiterate.
Talking about
that's a reality.
But most parents didn't want to send their children to school, you know? The man was in the market.
Yeah, but Tomalin, if your parents is illiterate and you went to school, when you get homework, when you come home, the parent can't even teach you the homework because they doesn't know. Yeah, go ahead.
My parents they couldn't read and write, so they sent me to live with some people. And we don't want to go into the social.
Yeah, we understand.
Yeah, we don't want to go into that, but some of us. Okay, we're indentured servant. We send our child to school to live with you, to work in your house, do whatever they can. All you gotta do is send them to school. So we don't want to go into that because that's a very painful chapter of our system.
That's true.
Okay. For some of
us, laughing. That's your business.
That's true.
You had to cook in the money press your brother and sister clothes before.
That's how my father went to school. I'm laughing because I heard it from my dad.
Yes, I went to afternoon school.
Some of us had to carry food.
I went to afternoon school.
Afternoon and evening school.
The people I was living with, their children had to come from school, and I took care of them before I went to school.
Some of us had to go to the cold storage, get fish, carry in the market before we go to school in the morning.
We don't want to go there because that's a terrible part. That's a terrible part of our foundation.
The name was changed because of that.
Of course. So, Dr. Torgbean, you've been talking about the theory and the methodology. Let's talk about the social psychology, what we are talking about, the system, the systemic racism or prejudice against people from the interior.
Just a second. Tomalin, can you pin your 856 number, please? Yeah, thank you. Go ahead, Jerome.
Yes. Let's talk about the division of our country for so long that made us to be where we are, that a kid from Webo County,
So,
Gilead,
so Mr. Chairman,
County
can we please
Ken.
announce the number quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So if you want to put your course in 07776499986, and if you also want to put your course in, we have 0779699959, and we have the diaspora number. We have 856-676-5136 are the numbers to call tonight. 07776499986. So you can just go ahead. When we receive any call, we'll let you know.
Okay. So Dr. Torgbean, address the social issue around it, because if you are not from the Republic of Monrovia, everything else is alien to you. To discuss that.
You know, you all just make some very, very good points, and Tukus was talking about this earlier about the parental education and the impact it has on your long-term ability to be able to learn. I mean, in Rome, Liberia, I did a study for Geneva Global, an international NGO that was trying to launch its program in Liberia. And one of the things that they found, they were looking at the number of overage students in Montserrat and Bomi County. Okay? And when we were doing that research study, one of the things we found was that.
Hello, we have someone on the line.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Nima. Where do you call from?
Yeah, hello. I call from Liberia. My name is Ahmad Babai.
Yeah, please be audible. Please be audible.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so I call from Liberia. My name is Ahmad Babai. I'm very interested and I'm excited over this program tonight, if you can hear me. I want to speak to the lady who spoke there, who said she went to school in Nigeria. I think she was right at some point in time. To select teachers, like she said, you have to be qualified before you can be selected as a teacher. If you be a science teacher, you must have been a good science, or if you be a history teacher, you must have been a good history student. But then you can be trained to be a teacher. But like she said, most teachers in school they don't even know the subject matter. So how can they teach it?
Okay.
So that's a point I wanted to make, because you see here in Liberia we have a lot of qualified people who can become teachers. Like I think she said it. People go to school, they're educated. Maybe they don't have job to do. Look for those people, let them go and teach. Recruit teachers.
Can I come in on can I make a comment to what Ahmed just said?
Yes, go ahead.
I think Ahmed, one of the suggestions I had earlier, and maybe you weren't listening to the show at the time, is that I kind of think that some of the so-called electives that we offer at the universities in Liberia make absolutely no sense. Why should a student in Liberia be taking 4 courses in PE, 4 courses in French, when all of us who took those 4 courses who leave from there, we don't even know how to speak French? Most of us can barely give 1 sentence in French. So we need to think about this from a more practical standpoint. Maybe at the universities, what we need to offer is courses in education that almost everyone has to do as an elective. So maybe lesson planning, how to plan a curriculum and those kinds of basic things. So that if a student graduates from the University of Liberia and you're a science student, you already have some basic ideas on how to teach. If someone were to hire you for teaching and you go into the classroom, you know what to do. But what we do is that we train students who are doing math and other subjects as if they are going to work in some mathematical institution, and those who are doing chemistry and biology, we train them as if they go into chemistry and biology lab. And when some of these students don't end up going to medical school and they come out and they place them in the classroom, they don't know how to teach. You have to spend some time now teaching them. So what we need to do is to move that backward. Let's move the different types of electives that students do at university. Let these be electives that students can learn to teach. So if they find themselves in the classroom, they can do that. And it will apply to every other profession. So even if you are not going to be a classroom teacher, if you are going to be a doctor, you can still be a doctor and teach other doctors. So I kind of think that teaching people how to teach is better for us than some of the electives we have in the different colleges and universities.
And let me just comment on it. Thank you, Doug. You made a salient point, because I remember when I came to the States and I really wanted to teach, because I had a bachelor in math from the University of Liberia in the state of Delaware. I was told that I can't just go in the classroom and teach. I have to get a certificate through a program called the Alternative Route to Certification. That is, I did some educational courses and they taught me how to teach before I can go into the classroom and teach math. And I think we need to apply similar concept in addition to what you are proposing at the University of Liberia. But let me ask another question to you, Dad. Do we have a set curriculum for each of the subjects that is taught in our school at different grades level?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
And now,
they're all available on the Ministry of Education website.
Now,
You can download
then the
it.
next question, are the private schools, because the private schools are supposed to follow that curriculum, are they following that? And are the public school also following that? And if that is the case, how is the Minister of Education determining if these schools are following the curriculum?
Mr. Gayman, we have someone on the line here.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, let the person after the question.
Thank you very much. This is Musoka Fala calling from the DRC.
Oh,
I want to
DRC.
For the very salient point he has raised. And the fact is that our education system is fundamentally broken and has consistently been broken for a long time. It requires some serious transformative leadership to be able to pay our attention. And the country will go nowhere if we don't invest in education. And so we need to take this very serious. Education is a national security issue, it's an economic issue, because countries that rise up and do great invest in education. And Chris has been trying to ease out some of the broken system we have. A curriculum that needs to be local, investment in the instructors. But the point I also want to stress is Kutu's point. When she stressed that the illiteracy of the parents is a contributing factor, then I would not be educated today. There were a bunch of us that came from chicken soup factory and shoes factory. Sold beer and grew okra and beer and cassava leaf to send us to school. But a good number of us have turned out extremely well in life. So what was the factor? Our parents all read, they all went to school. But we have one school in Ghana's with Stephen Tobo Estate, special project school. They took us and they fixed us between first grade to ninth grade. By the time we even left and went to government schools, our performance was almost a class ahead. And that's a good example. If you invest in very good schools, even when I was in the US, Chris knows this, at Kent State, I worked with the Center of Education, where we went to the slum community to help kids to read. It is the structure, it is the program. That's what the school's supposed to be, to take us and form us. But if that system and that process is broken, where the few educated parents will send their children to private schools, those are the outliers. But the bulk of the people that also the chicken soup factory and the shoes factory in the West Point and the Nuclear Town will always have our parents selling the bitter boy and pepper. It's going to be the government responsibility to create the system in the school to take us and push us forward. I don't have the time to give the example of Malaysia transformation. When the Malaysian government built this magnet school across the country and took the poor children, educated and sent them to top schools, and they came back and transformed the economy of Malaysia. We need to make our school to be that place of transformation, build the structure and the system that has been broken over the years. This was Jerry and Chris is right on point. And I pray that people will listen and know that it's a security issue. It is national investment. The human capital is our only investment we have to transform Liberia. So thank you for giving my brother the opportunity. I just thought to make this, that a poor guy like me, from parents in chicken soup factory, can become an instructor at Harvard. It is the school, it is the system, it is the country. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you very
So
much.
if you want to make a contribution, 777-649-986. +231 on WhatsApp, 777 649 986. We also have 077969 959. And for people in the diaspora, you can make a contribution on 856 676 5136 are the numbers to call tonight.
So,
Thank you.
Doc, can you comment on the question that I asked?
Yeah, sure. I just want to say a big thank you to my friend and brother, Dr. Mosoka Fala. Dr. Fala is the former director of the National Public Health Institute of Liberia. He also teaches at Harvard University. He's a product of Harvard.
Okay, we have
And,
someone on the line.
and along
Okay,
with that, okay,
Yeah, go
let's
ahead.
take it forward.
go ahead.
Yeah,
My name is Peterson W. Kwan, and I join you from LPLC Ghanansville.
go ahead.
But I am a teacher by profession. And to be honest with you, the government has greater responsibility when it comes to providing quality education to our society. But one of the problems that the government needs to focus on the private school. Brother, I must admit, for now, before anybody teach in public school, you must have gone to teacher college. Yes. But for the private school, I suspected that supervision from the government side is poor. So when the man established a school, looking at what he can pay the teacher, you're not going to look for qualified teachers, somebody that say biology, engineer at UL, no job, because the person went to school, and at that time, whatever he or she has as owner of the school to pay the person with, they will bring the person in. That spoil our country. So, Ministry of Education need to supervise in that direction. Their supervision in that direction need to be very serious. Private school are the one really, they're not really doing good for this country. Many private schools, they don't recruit teachers from teacher college. Thank you.
Okay, so let's take the next caller who is on the line. Hello, caller.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, Nime, where do you call from?
Yeah, I'm S. Augustine Kakula. I'm calling from Bonafa Uminga community.
Okay, make a contribution.
Yeah, mine say I'm a teacher. I will see certificate in teaching, but what happening in this country is terrible. Most of the things that are happening with our educational system lies in the hands of the private schools. You will have your certificate with a good teaching with a good pedagogical idea. You go to the school, the people will put you in different place. They take their assistants or take somebody who just graduated last day and come train to come teach. The system getting spoiled from the primary schools. The child can read. You don't know nothing about fraction. You don't know about nothing. They send you in the classroom to go teach fraction. Somebody don't even know the A part of speech. He doesn't know why it's now, why it's very nothing. Then he's saying to go teach English. How can that child learn something from the people? So as a result, I just send them to my house. Because if you go there, they will not even want to pay you the type of money you deserve. So these are the things that happen. The government should come and bring real idea to help the system in transforming the educational system, especially from the primary level. Anything outside of that, you go up there, you're not able to read. Then imagine somebody graduated high school, you're not able to read a letter. Amen. What kind of high school you graduated from? You can't spell anything. Some of the people in there used to say anything in the interior. I went to school on Beaumont Road in the interior. And they will send some people when they older than can say, how you spell Mary? How you spell Annie? How you spell Johnson? Oh, high school graduate, you can't spell anything. For allowing me to air my view on this thing, it really pains me a whole lot.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you. Thank you so much.
You know, this guy makes a very good point, though.
0777 +231 777 And for those of you who are watching us live on the closing argument, you can also make a contribution on 856 676 5136 and 0777 649 So, Mr. Gayman, you have to go ahead when we receive any call. We'll let
Okay, Doc, Anastasia Simmons made a great point. How could I have brought you on and didn't bring an educator, a female educator to be on the platform with you? I think you are right. We'll bring Doctor back and we will ask you or anybody who is in education that wants to come on to buttress us. It's not for the lack of trying. Honorable Georgia have been calling on all women from all disciplines to join us here. And for some reason, we have not been that lucky. We don't want to discuss just politics. So if you have, education as your background and you want to be on here, we would love to have you. If you have a science background, we'd love to have you. Not only political science and all of that, specialty. It is what we are trying to do to build the country. So yes, Anastasia, you are right. I will bring the doctor back and I will be asking you and Tukus and everybody else who have that. Dr. Fala will bring you guys on to help us out. We have to do it collectively. I called Doctor because I came across several of the articles that caught my attention. It's not by design that I relegated or decided to be prejudiced against women. No, that's not the case. So we'd love to have you on the next time the doctor comes on so we can have a balance, gender balance. But let me go to Mr. Nagbe. The guy said most teachers can spell Annie. Can you spell Annie?
No, but you know the point that guy was making though. Here's something we'll have to look at it. You know, one of the advantages of ranking the schools in Liberia. Look at it this way. I'm a parent. Maybe I'm not that literate. I didn't go to school, all the stuff like that. But if we rank,
so we have someone on the line here. Can we please take this person? Your name and where do you go from?
I'm calling from Province VOA.
Your name?
Kamara.
Okay, make your point.
Yeah, my point is, thank you for this discussion. In our community here, there are some people not able to afford to send their children to good school. Some people will struggle over all me. They say I'm sending my child to private school to go and learn, but they are not learning nothing.
Yep.
I'm facing the same problem with my children every day. I'm making noise. I was not educated because I was living with people when they walking and never went to school. But we pay good money for my children to go to school. When they go to school, when they come back, you tell them, say, read me the thing. They're not able. So every day we teach from school to school. So school here, there's some for everybody, all the 30 years, they got school. No good teacher.
So
they got certain school here. My children can tell me, say, their teacher can class school in the ghetto.
Wow.
Yes, the Minister of Education not monitoring the school at all.
100%.
So in that case, who is the cause?
The Minister of Education, because they are not monitoring the school. They go teach in the school. So when they finish school, they go to the school. They will beat on children. When you see the scheme, you say, "What kind of criminal is this?"
No, but it's sad.
No, but
yes. Yeah, in the era, even Minister of Education will say graduation fee is this. When you go there, you the parent to go to the school, they will tell you say that government pay my school. Yes.
Mm. Wow.
So that the parent will say in their country.
Thank you very much. Doctor, you are getting both sides of the story here from teachers, and now we're talking about victims of the system.
That's where ranking comes in. That's why ranking is very important. Suppose you rank the schools in Liberia, and I got a school in my community, and I want to send my child there. If we rank these schools and make it publicly available, and I look at that school and the school is ranked 837 or 837, even my child will tell me, say, you don't send me over there. And I, as a parent, I will know. That's why ranking is so important. We need to use data. We get data from the students that are taking WIAC exam at the 3rd grade level, at the 6th grade level, at the 9th grade level, or whatever grade levels we have. Let's rank all of the schools at those very levels, because when we do that, we have a system to categorize them. And if you can't meet a certain benchmark within a certain period of time, we shut you down. That's the way you do it. That's the only way you improve the system. Because if we leave it right now the way it is not going to change. The government has to mandate something. And our people here are victims. You hear the lady. I feel for them.
Over here, they got blue ribbon. They got all kinds of designations.
And you have to you have to be under yellow progress. It's called AY.
Exactly.
If you
all
don't
the designations come with incentive.
Yeah, you know.
Like maybe if we set it to 75, maybe you can around 65. We'll tell you, say, okay, you're on probation.
Yeah.
You have to improve this within 2 years. If you can't get to 75 within 2 years, you don't have a license. So we'll go to the next year. After that one, we shut the school down. The students can leave and go somewhere else. We have to focus on who should be the beneficiaries here. And the beneficiaries should be the students. And that's where government comes in. Government role is to take care of its citizens. Right now, we are neglecting that role if we don't put in place a system that will educate our kids.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Dr. Torgbean, who has some of the most brilliant ideas I have ever seen. But like when somebody here says, Joe, you guys you are in the media, and you're right, all these glossy things, you got all these great ideas, but when it comes to implementation in Liberia, it falls flat on its face. That how can we, you got a point now, because most of the folks that are in Liberia now, they are from the diaspora. They all got these glossy resume, degrees and degrees upon degrees, and then they get on the ground, and then the performance is very poor. How do we address that?
I think there's one mistake sometimes people make in Liberia when they hear someone come from the diaspora and they got education here. There's a mistake that some people make. And here's a big mistake. Sometimes we send students here to come and get their degrees and other stuff like that. Maybe the only place you work is you worked in Liberia. We'll send you here, we'll send you on a scholarship. You come and you go to school, you go to Harvard, maybe you get your master's, you got a PhD, and you leave and you go right back to Liberia. Your only working experience is your working experience in Liberia. So when you're going back the same person you were before. The only thing is that you got more knowledge now, but in terms of implementation, you haven't worked in different kinds of systems to help to train you in that area. That's one I would say. The second thing is that sometimes we have people who are here in the diaspora, they are not working anywhere along their profession. From the time they got their degree, they got here, some of them, it may be for lack of opportunities, sometimes lack of ambition or so, they jump in a completely different area and start working. Maybe I come from Liberia, I have a bachelor's or a master's degree in education, and I come because job business, I found myself working in the healthcare industry, where maybe I'm working in some of the group homes. I work there all of the time. I leave, I go back to Liberia, and they make me Deputy Minister for Education. I've never gotten any experience outside of Liberia in terms of how to run an educational system. So the only thing I know is my healthcare thing I've been doing here. But you gave me that job over there as Deputy Minister for Education. So I really don't have any new idea that I can carve out into the system. There are some professionals here in the US who have been working in their field and been working in the field for a very long time. And most of the time, these are not the kind of seasoned professionals that are moved into those kinds of jobs, because maybe for some of us, we got no political interest. We don't want to be running behind this politics or that other politics. And most of the appointments done in government is done because of, sometimes for lack of a better term, if you can cry the different kind of battle cries and other stuff like that, you get a better opportunity. And that's just the truth. It may not be in the educational sector, it cuts across every sector in Liberia.
And that you can say more than what you just said. It's well said. Thank you very much for highlighting that point. It is very important that, if we want to transform Liberia, we got to do it. We got to do it outside of politics. We have to look at technicians, people who have worked in the field in Liberia and outside of Liberia, that have the credentials, the qualification, the capability to do it, And I mean, he said it correctly. A lot of the people that go Liberia, and sadly, that's the situation. And again, another issue is that the system needs to change, and it has to change holistically. Let's be honest. There are some well-intentional, well-seasoned, well-qualified Liberians who have worked in Liberia and come here, work here, and have gone back and want to effect change But because the system is so rotten,
Yep.
the people that he meets there are all resistant to change. They are resistant to change. So as a result, that person going to cave in.
No, but let's talk the other side of that too,
Yeah,
Jackson.
you know.
Some of us
It's
leave from
difficult.
here till we go to Liberia, we act like we know everything.
Exactly, too.
And the fact of the matter is this: you may have the knowledge, but you don't have the context.
Yep.
The people in Liberia, they've been in those jobs and they know some of these systems, some of the ideas you take from here, and say I want to implement, it will not work because they know all of the different types of resistance you will get. So it takes a balance. It takes someone who's worked in a field and is a seasoned professional can go back and forth and navigate between the two. Because I tell you, I do consulting job in Liberia. Some things I leave and go and I try to do it. I found out it can't work. I got to work around it. But the fact of the matter is this: you have to go into and be humble. Most of us leave from here with Allah, we know everything. And we get out there, and because you get out there in Allah, you know everything. Everybody just stand by and say, oh, let's look out and hear the channel, let him carry everything ahead. You have to learn to work with people. You have to learn, your people management skill has to be there. Yep. Where you can humble yourself, you can talk to people, you can bring together a team that you guys can work collectively, because at the end of the day, you all have one goal, except that to achieve the goals, you might have different ideas on how to get there.
Yep.
But I talk about one of the things that affecting our country, that hurting our country is this, right? And I think somebody said it earlier when the show started. We should not put politics in our educational system.
Exactly.
It's not that he choose not to be part of no political party. His goal is to say, I want to help my country in the education sector. For the fact that he's not involved in politics with no party, he should be qualified to, if he look, get him opportunity to serve. You have to. It shouldn't be like, oh, hey man, you are with Communist Party, you are with Baga Party, with We Are Party. No, it should be about Liberia, the greater good. And the problem we're facing, you got educated people out of the country who want to help the country, but because they are non-partisan, they are being denied opportunity to help their country. And the problem we're facing today, until we get to that, get it straight. I'm not a politician. My goal is to help my country. So for no party, I can work with We Are government, with Baga government, with government, with Communist government, with Musa government, any government, and work with that government. My goal is just to help the people. Until we get to that point, it will help us a lot. Yeah. But because the politicians, the first thing, I'm in there, you're UPO, I'm in with CDC. But the man is qualified, but because you're with that party, and they deny you. So we should put politics in our educational sector. If we can get rid of that, I'm sure we'll go places.
Yeah, I just hope the folks.
Just 1 minute. I'm sorry, Chris. Yeah. Thank you, man. I hope you come back again. I'm getting off. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Doc, we got 18 minutes here to go. Real quick, I've been observing this thing about. I see a lot of confusion in our professionalism, in our social structure, in our education structure in Liberia, because we are sending our students to different systems, right? We got tons of students going to China. They're learning the Chinese way of doing things. We got people going to India. Now the new thing is now Rwanda. We got people going to France. So we don't have any consolidated system. The guys from China they come with different ideas to do what they want to do. So because there's a dichotomy in the system that is killing us, how do we solve this problem? If we want to be American, let's send all our teachers here and we have some consistency. But the Chinese system, the French system, the Rwanda system, the Indian system, and when they come home, everybody got different methods of solving the same problem.
I kind of think you may see as a disadvantage, I see as an advantage. The way I see as an advantage is we can borrow a little bit of the good ideas from several places and merge it into one. I kind of think that's what makes America a great nation today, because people come from all around the world. Some of us come from Africa, we come from other places, we bring our knowledge here. But what happens is the people have a system here that when we get here, we work into that system. So what needs to happen for us is we need to develop a system that when you come from out, we say, here are our rules, follow the rules. So you adjust whatever you learn to fit our system and not to come in with whatever you choose to try to do that. You know, that's really what it comes down to. There's an advantage of some of our students going to India and other places and coming back in, because there's some advantages about healthcare. You come in, you got a new way to do things. People can learn that trick from you, and you're able to learn it on the job. But we need to have our own national system. That's the only way it works.
You well said that. You can't say it more than what you said. We need a national system that no matter what part of the world you come from, you follow the system that is in place.
For that to happen, you have to have the system.
Yep.
This is what we are talking about. If you came to the United States, when I was a graduate assistant, there was a guy that wanted to enter the graduate program in education. He came with a degree from London, from Great Britain. When he got here, they did an evaluation through the credential evaluation, and they told him that you are a whole year short of 120 credits that are needed to get a degree in the United States. For you to get to the graduate program, you had to go back and make up the difference, then go to grad school. I was a little surprised. So we are talking about the system, right? Even though he came with his bachelor's degree, according to the credential evaluation, you are not a full bachelor's degree student in these United States.
Right.
So to go to grad school, you have to make up the difference, and then you move on. So now I'm just saying they have their own system.
Exactly.
And you have to conform to the system.
Yep.
Not we have, like, for instance, the code enforcers, right? Code enforcement. Sector planning, all of these things. If you come in, you want to do a work in here, these are the parameters under which you will work.
Yep.
You are an engineer, this is what you're going to do. If you are a sector planner, these are the things you will do. But we do not have a system. So everybody does their own thing.
Yep.
So if you were doing plumbing in Bassa, and I learned my different in Nimba, when I come, the difference of the piping and distances, everything is different. There is no standardized system.
That's why we need a system. We need a system. If the country is to move forward, we need to look at systems and put them in place, and not only adapting the system, but making sure that the system works. Hold people accountable to ensure that the system works. As you already stated, when I came to the United States, the first thing I had to do, I had to evaluate my credentials. And fortunately for us, the University of Liberia, when I evaluated my credential, it said that my credential is comparable to that of a bachelor degree in the United States. But because I didn't have a background to teach, I had to go through that system to learn how to teach before I was even able to go into the classroom to start teaching. You see, so the system is there. If we can adapt the same thing in Liberia, I think we will go a long way to improve not only our educational system, our healthcare delivery system. Because you see, everything here is what? You have to follow the process. It's a process that you follow. And we can be doing the same thing, and somebody said it, you can be doing the same thing differently. I mean, the same thing differently, and you expect that the same thing the same way and expect different results.
Doctor, real quick before you go, when I was in school here, like I say, I was a graduate system. We had two courses that were actually like a stumbling block to kids who wanted to go into teaching. One was something they call classroom management, and the second was here in Florida, they call it student teaching, where they that's a real sing or swim or sing thing. Where after you now learn everything, then they send you to a school, and they'll give you a chance to teach for 6 months, so you can really see if teaching is what you want to do. Then this is where they observe you, someone follows you and see your classroom management. Those two things. So do we have such a system in Liberia?
Yeah, to a large extent we do. Most of like I was telling you before, that most of the teacher training institutions right now, they do all of that. Or remember, as I was saying, through the pipeline, there are fewer teachers coming out of the pipeline, and there are more people who are already outside the system that need to be retrained. I know some of the schools like Lacosses and others like that are running around providing education. that those schools, when you go through and you get to a certain stage, you have to go to a school building, you have to do some teaching, you have to monitor you, and then provide some information back to the school and they say this person is qualified to be able to teach in the classroom. So yeah, that is happening. But our main problem is not mainly the guys who are coming out of the system. It is the bigger problem is with those who are currently in the classroom. And Tuku's made some very, very valid points too when it came to talking about people being taught methodology and not knowing the content. The way we can try to alleviate some of that, and I stated that earlier, is let's make teacher training a part of our national curriculum at all of the universities. So regardless of what subject area you go into, you have to take a few courses in teacher training, because guess what? Regardless of your profession, you always have to teach somebody. If you're an accountant at a bank, you may need to have some workshop and other things to upgrade the skills there. If you're a carpenter, you may need to train somebody how to do stuff. So as opposed to doing some of these useless courses that we have, I mean, clogging up the curriculum, we can embed things that are going to be more realistic and will better prepare our society in terms of the kind of skills that people will need. So regardless of what you do in terms of your major, once you graduate, if you find yourself in the classroom, you know what to do.
Yeah, and what Doc is saying is right. For example, at the University of Liberia, I did PE. I did PE. I didn't do ROTC. I did PE. Now I was a math student. At that time, if I had done an elective in classroom management,
you were not going to have the problem you have
I
when you
would
got
not
here.
have had the problem that I had here. If I had elective in pedagogy, how to teach. You understand? I wouldn't have had a problem here. So what he's saying is right. At some point down the road, you have to teach. So if we can embed some of these classroom management, of course, pedagogy, how to teach, and all of these things, it make it some free elective for students, or make it a mandatory elective, because many of the courses at the University of Liberia, you got some free electives. You understand? And so you got mandatory electives. You can make we can revamp all of those things, and we can improve on the education system. But again, thank Doc. I will hit you up.
Word. Okay.
Yeah, I need to discuss something. I need to discuss something with you.
Okay.
We'll talk.
Thank you very much. We have run out of time. Your parting comments?
Well, my parting comments will be this, and I want to make this emphatically clear, because sometimes when you come on some of these shows and you have a conversation, everybody kind of think that, oh, the guy saying all of the things because he's looking for a government job. Let me make this emphatically clear. I am not interested in working for the government of Liberia now or any time in the future. I found myself to be a technocrat, and like you say in Liberia, everybody got their own area. Government is not for me. I prefer to work in the private sector. But it doesn't necessarily mean that because I work in the private sector, I can't help as a Liberian. So whatever I can do to help to strengthen the system, I'm always open to provide ideas and to actually support those ideas with more technical things. But if you're sitting here listening on somewhere on TV or on the radio and kind of say, oh, that young one of those guys who out there looking for some kind of government job, the day you hear my name announced as the minister in government, it means I'm going crazy. That will not happen. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Torgbean. My only disappointment with the doctor is he wants to take himself totally out of this. No, if your nation, if your country needs you, and they say help us out.
That is CMC politics he wants to play now.
I'm not a politician.
No, he's not a politician. But I'm
Yeah.
saying here, if President Wakai sees that this man can be of help to the system, he calls him, he needs to answer that call and say, yes, I will help.
But he can be a consultant.
I can help. I definitely will help as a consultant. I just can't be. I just can't do politics. Not in Liberia.
No. This is not politics. You are a technocrat now. You are like a civil servant, right? In the American way, government can't government go. You are there to do the work, because those are the folks that get the country running consistently. Not the political appointment or that director. They know the people who run this country are the technocrats.
Well, Liberia has no technocrats.
Everyone
in government is a politician. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We got to build that, because in this country, somebody will tell you, I've been at this job for 30 years.
Exactly.
That means they have served 10 or 15 presidents.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But they don't come and say, oh, my man, you didn't wear that blue.
Or
that green. You didn't wear the green, so you don't belong here. That's not how it works. So, Doc, we want to thank you. I want you to come back.
All right, Jerome.
I want to
we can raise that.
Yeah, people have said that I didn't bring a quality woman to be on the platform, and I lost some of the women that been calling. Anesthesia, I'm going to call you now. Don't say, and all the other educators on here.
Yeah, you want to get to Simmons, you can get to her through me too. She and I work together. As a matter of fact, we're running some project for Birmingham County Community College, and she's been doing some training and other things in Bapool and other areas. So she's very active in the education sector in Liberia.
Great. So I'm going to call you. We're going to put a team together. I'm also to bring next week. We're going to have the retired stateswoman. She was representative from the state of Florida. She's also an educator. She will be here next week to talk about politics, to talk about education, to talk about children. She's an environmentalist. She's an AKA. She wants me to tell everybody she's an AKA, and she will be out here discussing. So, Doc, we want to thank you very much. It's an honor having you on. I'm going to stay in touch with you. I know the chief here will stay in touch with you. We need to have the people don't think all the thing we talk about is politics. No. We talk substance. That's what says the closing argument, apart from many of the other platforms, is not about politics. It's not about politics all the time. We got great folks here, and we'd like to profile them. Thank you very much. And I look forward to talking to you again.
And thanks so much, and thanks for having me.
Great.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Yeah. So
okay, let's do the evaluation after he leaves. When he signs off, then we'll do the evaluation. Dr. Sita.
Well, I'm not a doctor.
Oh, okay, Mr. Sita.
I don't want to take that title because
it's all right. It's all right.
I don't want people carrying my name. They call the man doctor, and he doesn't have a PhD or he doesn't have a doctorate degree.
If they call you doctor, even give you honorary doctorate degree,
if I get an honorary doctorate degree, okay, I will accept it.
I work on one.
Yeah,
I work on one. Yeah, let's go with the evaluation. What did you think about the show?
I think the show was a very good show tonight. It talks about the problem with our educational system. And I think Dr. Tomalin, a good friend of mine, made some salient points. He gave some recommendations. And I just hope that our folks, our policy makers in Liberia, will look at some of these, some of the points that he raised and try to start seeing how best, some of those plans and recommendations can be implemented. Liberia belongs to every one of us. We may not be in government, but every one of us have a stake in Liberia. And I think it is about time that our government listen to our technicians and our experts in the various disciplines. So it was an excellent show. And I just hope that, we will always have people of his caliber to come here to discuss those issues that are germane to Mama Liberia. Thank you very much.
Don't go anywhere because I want to touch on one topic quick before we go. Chief, what did you think about the show today?
Let me say thanks to Mr. Gayman for this very, very, very important guest. In fact, the show was proceeding. I was receiving messages from people about the show and people who don't usually watch the show for watching the show tonight. That's good though. It's important that it's not only about politics. It's sometimes, and especially education. That's why I salute all those who are in the field of education. It's not a profession that can make you rich. It's a chosen profession. They put their all in all to it. Because had it not been for educators, some of us won't be around. They manufacture. They help us to explore the world. You give them credit. That's why you should honor teachers, those who are involved. That's why I respect Kehleboe, I respect Mr. Sita, Mr. Nagbe. All of you guys are involved in the educational field, especially in this country called America. I know the challenges you guys face, but yet and still, you guys continue to persevere and helping a lot of people. I know that I remember when I was at Job Corps, the students there. If you follow the students, and the people that go to Job Corps, most of them they have problems in the past.
Behavior problems.
As a result, they end up to Job Corps because the friends left them behind. But when you get there now, why they in school, they get the same behavior there. They're telling you, look at you. You can't. They say when you try to talk to them, they say, what the hell are you talking about? You can't even understand what he's saying. I mean, you're teaching them, but they try to mimic you, you know?
Yeah.
So imagine what our brothers and sisters that teach America, what they go through when they're in school. Some of them, with these kids, some of them who just rude. They would tell the teacher, say, they would try to denigrate the teacher, but yet and still they are trained, and they are trained to overcome these kind of things. So I give them credit. But the show was very, very nice, and I've gotten a lot of positive feedbacks. And in fact, the minute I saw the guests, I tagged the Minister of Education, Jaso Jala. I tagged the educational and chairman in the Senate, McGill. I tagged all the people I usually tag, the government people, let them know that there's a problem our country we are faced with, and let them reach out to these people. Let them come out to us and say, look, we learn a lot from this. We can do better. Let them try to help, because it's important. Look, I heard some callers. They almost said something. Were laughing, but it was serious. They must say she was saying go to school, but she's working hard. Some are trying to college school, private school. Go to private school. They come back for that. Tell them what the teachers say. The children know it, because the teachers do like that too. Some of them ain't care. And anybody, as long as you get a degree and they say, oh yeah, I want to teach. Yeah, I can teach. You come from America and say, oh, you want to teach, you can teach. They give the chocolate to teach. Now what happened in there? Because my friend out here, they say, I said, my man, I'm teaching you. Teaching where? I got about 3-4 schools I teach here. When the morning I put my thing together, I didn't tell you. People there. Especially, there's some of them too. As soon as they get a master, they put them to teach college too now. And everybody can just teach university and so forth. You know? I mean, I was happy for the show, and we look forward to Dr. Tomalin coming back, and this time around, reaching out to the people, educational people, to telling you come. When you come here, don't be afraid. We're going to ask you what you're doing. We want to talk about the subject matter. So, and the problem I got our officials, the government. I mean, and not only the government, the past government too. They don't like to come to the public to engage the public. How do people know your problem? Okay? That's my time. They say, oh, the LGA brought the fire. But saying to over here, have you had any one press conference there? No, nothing. So only the time the deputy want to Mika and said they drop people from executive branch, the judicial branch, the legislative branch, up out of the drug cartel. And that guy out here when he was fired too.
Yep.
And the problem is until we can get to that point where our people can avail themselves to engage the public, it will be better for us. But you tell them to come, they start dodging.
Let me just make this point. The Minister of Education is a good friend of mine, and I've been knowing her for a while. And I want to believe that she's doing a good job in Liberia. But again, people will not know that she's doing a good job if she is not letting the Liberian people and the world know what she is doing. What are the challenges she is facing? You know, all of these things need to be made known so that people will say, well, you know what happened? At least the minister is doing her best. But there are several challenges and hurdles that she's dealing with. And you understand, as you already stated, this is not the time for you to shy away from you. You are a public servant.
Yeah.
And the people need to know what you are doing. You know, and I sometimes I agree that many of these people, they shy away because, maybe I don't know, but maybe, they're trying to play safe. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe I may be wrong.
No,
and you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but again, that does not, it's not helpful. It's not helpful that you only go on government media outlet to speak when you have independent media outlet that you can also speak to, and they will be the better place for you to propagate your views.
Listen to what this person said. If she try it tomorrow, no, she will be fired. No,
but the problem is that if I know where I'm going, right? If I know where, like for instance, you saw the guy from Noka. He came here.
Yeah.
He was like, if I was told that, he said, don't go over there, don't go to the play. That opposition play there. He said, I'm talking about Noka. He came here, he made a very brilliant presentation. He was praising him. The other day, the president nominated to be the boss of Noka proper now.
And you know, Tomalin, you see, the point, what the people don't understand is that every one of us, we have a stake in Liberia.
Yeah.
Whether you are in the government, you are in the opposition, you are in the private sector, you are a private citizen, every one of us have a stake in Liberia. And no Liberian is more Liberian than another Liberian.
Yeah.
So it is very important that, you know, these things are said and people come on and tell us what they are doing in their area. Because if you don't do that, it creates the perception that you are not doing anything.
And that's true.
And I'm not going to wait when other government we can't do it. No.
Mm-hmm.
Come, you do it, you explain. And I can tell you the way Mr. Sita is saying. People will say, oh, we know that you are already doing nationwide to all the educational all the counties already. I heard the education minister went to all the counties already. She have done educational too. But do we know? You go to Mika alone can do it. You got Mika to say the guy that do the Mika say it cost him because we're already. So people get turned off from watching it. They'll say, oh, won't hear about Mika because you go ahead and cost you, or they won't. So what you do, go on a network, come on a platform. And to be frank with you, the guys on the platform are professional. They can become to come play that I got you game or to try to denigrate or bring you down. No. We here to say, oh, you corrupt. You just want no. We're not here for that. We'll discuss the issue. If a topic comes out that you have a problem with, you say, well, I choose not to answer that question another time. But come forward. Don't shy away.
But when you are well educated, there is no way for someone to give you an I got you question. Once you are well educated and you know your stuff, nobody can pin you to the wall.
Except when you find something where
nobody can pin you, my man, because you will know what to say.
I will contact Joe Moyu. We need to, like he said, we also need to get involved into the private sector. Joe Moyu is a consultant himself, been doing it for a while, knows everybody. He out of the California area, even though now he's in the Las Vegas area. But so Joe Moyu, I'm going to reach out to you. That's true. We got to diversify, and that's good. But Chief, before we go, let me read this. This is the new thing that came from the U.S. Embassy in Liberia this morning, and is written by the embassy staff, David Yates. It says here, birth tourism prohibited now in the United States. And it says, the visa wahala continue. The United States Embassy in Monrovia has issued a reminder to Liberians and other travelers that apply for U.S. visa with the intent of giving birth in the United States, so that a child can obtain U.S. citizenship. This is now strictly prohibited under the new immigration law. In its social media post on Wednesday, August the 27th, the embassy emphasized that consular officers are trained to identify such intention during visa interviews and are authorized to deny application if they believe the applicant is seeking travel abroad. That means if you are pregnant and you get there, these people now have been trained to observe you physically, emotionally, to tell whether you are pregnant, and they are giving the green light to deny your visa outright. So, Chief, what do you think about this?
Yeah, but
birth tourism.
Let me say this. Okay, that is the Trump administration on the policy, right? Because the law in America about the law, the U.S. Constitution is clear. Once you are born on the U.S. soil, you are a U.S. citizen. Now, what they can do, if you suspect that you're pregnant, they deny your visa. But once the person comes to the country and born, that child is a U.S. citizen. They cannot change with a policy or statement. Only Congress can do that. That's a law. So what they're saying, basically saying that, okay, if they find out you're pregnant, we don't give you visa because you want to go and born baby in our country now. So but for the next maybe the next we have to from office to 2028. So for the next 2-3 years, if you're pregnant, you're better showing. Don't go to the embassy. You go there, they won't give you visa. Because if they say you want born baby in America, but if the pregnancy just started, how will you know the person pregnant?
But he just said they have been trained, right?
Yeah.
And obviously some of them would be nurses. They know when a woman is pregnant, her composure, her
Also,
demeanor.
Somebody,
let me just come in. When a woman is, let's say, 1 month pregnant.
Wait, let him land. Go ahead.
The woman in August, right?
Mm-hmm.
The woman she got pregnant in August. Okay, she goes to and then maybe 2 weeks later, 2 weeks in September, they say they tell her she's pregnant. She knows she's pregnant now. 2 weeks, about 2-3 weeks pregnant. She goes to MRC they will know that the woman will go show sign that she's pregnant or what. They'll go show sign she's pregnant. They will say that go test you because
the people are trained. The morning sickness. You've been sitting there for because they make you sit there 2, 3 hours, 4 hours before you get to be seen and they see and all of that.
Women will be pregnant for 6-7 months. You can't know that.
But listen. If they want to catch you like the way they caught my uncle, and I will tell you now, they gave you paper to sign. They say, honor, prejudice, are you pregnant? Have you missed your date? And you might know, no. Let it do my uncle. Everything you might know. Have you ever taken part in revolution? No. Have you ever fought to overthrow a government? No. Have you ever done this? No.
Your uncle Tom will you?
Yeah.
Different story. No.
I'm just saying it's a trap. They can trap you. Okay. Once they put all the things, you say no. And then
if I was making billions.
Let me say this: the U.S. government has the right to adopt any policy that it feels that is within the interest of the United States. But this policy, while it is the Trump administration policy, I think it has some discriminatory undertone in a sense that if a woman is pregnant, she wants to come to visit the United States because she's pregnant. The assumption would be that she's coming for birth tourism. So she'll obviously be denied visa. You understand? But then the question that comes, how do you know that a woman wants to deliver in America? You say you are trained that. But let's put it the other way. A woman makes a menstrual cycle. She goes to the embassy. And then you will ask her.
Oh, yes.
You will ask her whether she makes a menstrual cycle. Then you are trying to evade a woman's privacy. And in America,
it's not private.
Hold on. In America, privacy, especially Republicans, they believe in privacy. That's a private matter. You understand? So I don't know, I may be wrong, but again, I think this policy, well, I think maybe it is intended to dissuade a lot of people who want to come to seek visa to come to the United States. That may be maybe a psychological game that is being played. I may be wrong on this, but I think, it has some discriminatory undertone. But again, the Trump administration and any U.S. administration has the right to adopt any policy that it feels that it is in the interest of that government and the people of the United States. So for me, I'm not opposed to that. But again, it has a lot of honor too.
Okay, we're going to go to the next one, but let's look at this. There is a case now. I don't know whether that case has ended, but we had a group of girls that left Alabama here next door to us here that joined ISIS, right? And they went to the Middle East and they became wives of the folks there. Several of them got pregnant. They don't know who the father is, blah, blah, blah. They had a baby. And now they want to come back. The government said, no, once you join ISIS and all that. Not only do they want to come back, but they want to bring their children with them. And the state is saying, no. You are actually a terrorist, and the children you bring in, their children are terrorists. So in that case, they denied them to come back. They actually lost their citizenship, and they are fighting that. I think it falls within that same kind of thinking that, listen, you go out there, you get pregnant, you want to come here and have a child, go back to where you come from and give them American protection. But that's it. But let's go to the next one here. President Walker fired. This one is on all the newspaper front page. All the front pages. According to the Liberian Observer here, President Waka fired LDA top brass, named interim team amid drug crisis. The Liberia investigator Waka fired LDA leadership, appoint new interim team amid drug crisis. Front page Africa carried the same thing. So here we are. Listen, Honorable Tomalin, this is President Waka's fourth appointment into that department. It's not. It looks like it's not the department anymore. It's the president now, because in America, with the 3 strikes, you were out. How you keep doing the same thing over and over and over, and you're not getting any result, and you keep doing the same thing. Why? What's going on here?
Well, you know, first of all, let me say this. I commend the president for the recent action, right? Okay. But now, he didn't stop there. I think he said he gave the justice minister 90 days to come up with a comprehensive plan of action.
Wow.
Now, what I'm hearing now is that he's about to do after, I think, to do a lot of changes at the LDA. But they're gonna put the right people there, hopefully, and they come up with elite task force to really do it. But it requires a lot. That place needs to be well funded. The budget, the guy cannot do it. They need more manpower. Our borders are porous. You need you need more technology at the airports and everywhere too, because most of the drugs things comes at night. And mind you, most of the drugs they come through frozen food products. Some of these big businesses in Liberia. Look, I was told that the whole drugs on it, you got people that they use Liberia as a conduit too. It's not only in Liberia stopping. So what they do, they go to some big businesses, and they use the name to the drug to come through them. They pass through Liberia and move on to the greater market. Okay, so they imagine the 100 million drugs they told you they came through frozen food products. Okay, that should bring concern. That but the dealers, the frozen food dealers, I mean, were they arrested? Where are they? I mean, they don't want to see they carrying young children. You know, some young people say that they are involved in drugs. I don't take it serious, because that person looking for a living. It's not them that are involved. The real people that are behind the drug laws, then they are relaxing in an AC, in the hotels, in top place on dinner table, and watch what's happening. Because their only job is to see that job pass through Liberia and get from there to the greater market. So with the president doing it, the reform, want to see the reform that they'll come up with. But I think they got some good Liberians who can take on that job. I don't want to call person name, so people get involved me, but I can tell you, I mean, you take somebody who an ex-military person, you send them over there, they will do it. Now I heard that, because my friend Sam Gay, who the EPS boss, when I met him in Nigeria, he was doing what he was doing for the U.S. government.
He was a drug guy over there.
That's he was the drug guy in Nigeria. I met him in the 90s. Okay, but I think they should bring him. I mean, he's aged, but he can be more administrative area, stay in the office and help train the guys then. But you need a person like a Remy Gray, Remy Gray. Remy Gray ain't one of the operations guy. Bring that kind of guy and put him forward. Let him forget about politics, forget about which side he took. But you need to put to do the job. Get people that really great and say, look, give the guys the opportunity to come and serve. And they come and do it. Even if Fadiga better. I mean, take what you want to say. Fadiga then came with a mindset to do a good job. But the guy involved in the politics there and everything got messed up. But I still believe Fadiga, he put him back one of the eras. He would do a good job for the DEA to help. He wanted to help to fight the drug battle. But if the president is serious for true, he will see what will happen in the reform. We want to see serious action. Not look at the man who was operation chief. He on recording telling the man say they might free your daughter. They might do that one. Can you imagine? And then lastly, you cannot pay a drug agent $175, and if the man capture a drug deal worth $10,000, why they tell you, my man, we'll give you $5,000. Tell me now. The man will say, when I get it $175 every month, they won't give me $5,000 right now to close the deal. And you will take it. Like, they got to make the salary attractive. I don't think I'm paying $5,000, but make it attractive. You see the police, in America, some of them, They are paid well, but some of them can come across big deals. We know that. I remember on Iro Allen, the police director there, he and the mayor, they were in big stuff there until they first got to know it and bust them up. So it's something that be attractive. So right now, I pray the president really take the fight on drugs seriously, because if he does not, don't happen. I saw Kamara post this morning. Kamara Kone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they ran the campaign on Kush. They said they're gonna eliminate Kush. They blame. They say, "Oh, we are bringing Kush in Liberia." But what has happened over the last 2 years? This government, we see that the drug issue have increased. So what you're saying? So you're lying on we are then. We are gonna bring in Kush, but where the Kush now? They got different names now. You're not beat the number. You're going up. We got more drug users now, more people infected with drugs today than the last 2 years. So if they don't take it serious, if anybody run against them, they will beat them on the issue of drugs. They will beat them on it.
Chief.
Yeah.
Mr. Seaton.
Yeah.
The president, the reason that some of us are skeptical is the president put in first a team of Seleke Kromah and that stuff. And that team fell apart. And the president set up a committee to do an investigation, a thorough investigation. The report came out, he said 2 weeks he was going to publish it. Up to now, nobody knows the hey and tay of that report. The president kept it confidential. Then he appointed an interim. That group came in, the gentleman from the embassy came in. It didn't work. Then he appointed the third group. The third group is worse than the first 2 groups. That's the one that just left. Then he got rid of it. Now he bring in the 4th group. So we just read this year where they say in Ganta, the LGA officers, they are on foot chasing drug dealers that got cars. How is that possible? Listen, some of us, as good as some of us are in administration, if I don't have the resources, I don't care how great you are, you will never function well in either one of those positions. So if you put me at DEA and I need $40 million and you give me $3 million, it's not going to work. The agency is not funded. It's not funded to do anything to succeed.
Thank you very much. I know the president. Maybe he has good intention, but this issue of drug is a legacy issue. That's his legacy. I don't know whether he's going to be running for 2029, because from his utterances, it appears that he may not run 2029. But again, the president had 2 years. He campaigned on the same issue. He should have had a national plan of action. It is not the people that are at the DEA that needs to address this issue. It is the president that's supposed to have crafted a national plan of action. Say, look, this is our national plan of action to combat drugs, to rehabilitate those who are on drugs, to make sure that we pay people that are fighting drugs, we pay them correctly, and the whole 9 years. If we had a national plan of action, the drug war that we are fighting that seems to have no end would have been minimized. You have DEA, you read it today, DEA officers, they got no resources. No resources. And you read it today. And it was almost like a similar question that I posed to some group of journalist students when I was back in Liberia. We're talking about ethics. You go interview somebody who stole $50 million worth of government money, and you got a scoop. And the person, by the time you go there, when you are leaving your home, say you didn't even leave and 25 hours for your work for auto cook. You went on the feet to go also to bring something home. The person look at you, pull you, and give you $10,000 and man bury this story. What will you do? What will you do? That's a serious ethical issue. So you can't fight drugs when the drug agents are underpaid and they are underfunded and they don't have the resources to fight drugs. That's one. Two, our borders, we have a porous border. And Fariga made a point here. DEA officers are not respected at a port, at a border point. So the government needs to come up with a national plan of action. I just hope that the Minister of Justice will muster the courage to bring all of the technicians to come up with a national plan of action to see how we can address this drug issue. But other than that, my brother, we are fighting a losing battle. But again, I want to say thank you, and we had a good show, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow.
Yes,
God's willing.
tomorrow, guys, we're going to be talking about some other great issue. We're going to continue the drug. We're going to talk about Sandra Johnson. Is that Sandra, ex-Senator Sandra Johnson alarm over premature campaigning ahead of 2029. We'll discuss that tomorrow. We'll talk about the slime, the huge salaries, and endless perks from the legislature. We're going to talk about those things. Then we're going to talk about the Supreme Court has been asked to review George Whaley's bill ruling in the capital arson case. Then we are also going to talk about the Ganta mayor was alleged that he actually facilitated the escape of a drug kingpin. He denies it, but these are stories we are working on. We'll discuss them tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get back to it tomorrow. Chief, thank you very much for coming on. Let's do this tomorrow. Let's take out a year. Let's do a year in review. Any news, any announcement?
Update the people about the case last night about the lady who was seeing the video.
Yes.
Tied. Yes. That case is, they have taken the seas of that matter. The lady name is a 38-year-old Miss Koto Vangbana from Bolomar Town, Bala District, Babulu County. And she's now in the hands of the gender ministry. She's in the hands now. And the guys who are involved, I'm told that they are being arrested. The woman who you saw they were tying, she's a mother of 5 children. Yes, she's a mother of 5 children. And so, but based on our swift action last night, people were dispatched there, and I can tell you with confidence that she's safe right now. She's safe, and she's in the hands of some other organizations and the government. The Ministry of Gender are involved, and those who carry on the act, they are being pursued. Some of them are in custody already, but we'll stop there for now. But we just want to let you guys know that we did follow up on it. The government did send people there, and she's in the hands of the government and another organization. She's safe, and hopefully we'll get to bring her on the closing argument so she can explain her due to. But I want to say thank you to all of those who were part of this to make sure that the message spread. And as Mr. Gayman said, if you have any human story, anything that needs to be discussed, come forward. Read Mr. Gayman. Reach out to him, and we'll set you up. Come, let's talk about it. We shouldn't just this platform is not for only people who are well known or popular. No, if my maybe in the village they're having some issues, I need to be brought, and you know about it, bring it up. We'll discuss it. We'll bring it to the forefront. The good thing, if the major policy players they watch this show, and we have access to them, we can easily just send the message, yeah, what's happening, and and we'll bring it to their attention. So please, don't feel that maybe because nobody they will not. No. If nobody, any injustice taking place, anything that's happening that is not fair, that's against the law, you let us know. Okay, somebody asked me just now. Maybe we'll throw it out there during the week. Somebody want the DV in Liberia. They're looking for help. Somebody to host them. Maybe somebody willing to host them. We'll bring it forward. The person will tell the person, once you can inbox it, I can host that person. We'll inbox that person information on you. You take care of that person. We have to help people. If you see that, but any scholarship, someone that to be pushed. Right now, I'm working on something for young people. They're having some educational program that they can come on and get a second degree in New York. Work on it right now for some people. So feel free to reach out to any one of us. I don't want to see people living in poverty. That's not my aim, man. Mr. Gayman, that is aim too. Mr. Gayman I mean, I'm sure in his area, he can find job for you. As an employer. In Florida, you want to live in Florida, you will say, well, come for application in, you know. So we have to help people. So we're happy that this lady is not in, she's safe, she's been rescued, and look forward to bring her on the show. And those involved will also join her on the show in the coming days. And so let us thank you again. No, Nora, they woman, you saw the woman, the third woman, the other guy. The man, that's the person he get as iron in your foot. Look for Peabody that ran with it. He raised $4,000 for that man, and the man just took off with that. So, but when the woman is visible, you saw her being tied. So, I'm not gonna raise somebody who can tell me say they get iron in their foot. I can see. No, I'm part of that one. No. So Nora, I beg you. I hope you're full. But Mr. Gayman, Nora, everything will bring her. She's a very good giver.
Good.
Yeah, she gave every time we have anything that fundraiser, she gave. That's why, and she's a compassionate person. She always give. So,
Nora, you are a stakeholder. We listen. I mean, this is great, but this is why I made a comment. The commentary when I started today, it was my disappointment with Kamara Corner. That's why I didn't read his statement.
Oh, okay.
For the senator to have put up a beautiful statement on the drug, but dire human rights abuse in his county that is all over the place. He didn't even mention.
No, I think I heard he talk about you.
Okay.
Yeah.
If anybody has anything,
I haven't seen a statement. Somebody told me Kamara wrote about the lady who was tied.
Okay, so I'm going to go on his page and see if it's there tomorrow. I stand to be corrected.
Yes,
we'll bring it out tomorrow because this is human rights abuse, and one man or one woman being human rights violated, it covers everybody, especially a woman.
Yeah, so
guys, thank you very much, Chief. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Gayman.
Let's turn in tomorrow. Let's do it again. Thank you.